And welcome everybody to the fastest growing live stream wrestling podcast on the internet today. My mic messed up. My name is AEW Disciplinary Committee. And don't worry, I am not alone. We have our good friends here. Well, first off, let's do this. And as always, Marv's best friend in the world, we have Mr. Kevin Apollo. How are you doing tonight?
I'm all for this heel edition of Tooney Talk TV. Hey, by the way, on NXT, who is the girl who comes out with the guy in the cowboy hat?
No idea. I'm always here on Tuesday nights.
I know that's. I've been trying to make a point to watch it.
Yeah.
Especially because one of my good friends is a ref down there, and he's on TV on a more regular basis. And I love marking out for my friends who are refs, like Eddie and Bennett on Raw. So it's like I want to give the love. I want to give love where I can, but I'm like I have it on the background. I'm like, hey, who's this blonde? And who's that guy in the Terry Funk outfit?
NXT has become it's weird. It seems like it's becoming a third brand as opposed to a developmental brand. And Evolve is kind of moving into where NXT was a little bit. We'll get into that. You know who will not know who that is? I guarantee you they will not know. Our very own Norwegian grifter, owner and operator of Soft Ground Wrestling, Awful Wrestling, has joined us.
Peace, everybody. What's going on? What's happening?
I know
every week my avatar looks like Ibu.
I know the grifter joke got old, but I think it works here because you were a Norwegian scammer. So I don't know. The first time I saw that, I got like weird Jamie Foxx mixed with Kevin Hart vibes, but then you guys pointed out the Norwegian scammer thing, and it's all I can see at this point. So how are you doing, Awful?
I'm doing all right. How are you gentlemen doing? I missed last week, so I hope to come back with fire and vengeance this week.
Well, you better, because I don't know if people have noticed. I know that it's been so smooth. It's been such a smooth transition that people probably don't realize Marv is in here. He's such a small part of the show that you probably don't realize that the orange puppet isn't here today. But no, he lost his voice. So I will be the voice of the voiceless. I will be Marv's consigliere today, and taking over as I always want to do anyway. I cannot touch the USB cord on this microphone though, because if I do, it'll get unplugged and then things will get really weird like it did at the beginning of the show. Before we get into all of our topics today, which we have quite a
Marv doesn't have hemorrhoids, to be clear.
I mean he might. I don't know that for a fact. I can't speak for him. I mean, I will speak for him. Yes, Marv has
said something about he said something about his ass itching. So
in the group chat he talks about his ass so much though in the group chat that it's hard to really know if he's being serious or if he's just like complaining about his. I don't know. Anyway, we are going to have a plethora of topics, probably more like 5. But before we do that, let's get to our super chats at the top of the show. We have Chef Eddie with the $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Chef Eddie. This will go to Marv's Relief Fund. Gunther is the best. That is all. Yeah. Did you guys see that segment last night on Raw?
Which one? Where he choked out Otis?
The Tozawa segment, the whole thing.
Oh yeah, that segment was phenomenal.
Beautiful old school heel tactics by Gunther. Pulling out the weak link, and I don't think they did Tozawa dirty. Like they gave him some nice offense. The kids probably enjoyed seeing him get a little bit in on him, but he wasn't ever going to win. This wasn't a Miz situation from last year. And then him choking out Otis. I saw people complaining.
Still got some good hope spots though.
Yeah. Tozawa got that's what Tozawa does now, right? Like it's actually, I mentioned this to Max while we were watching it. Tozawa and Gunther together is kind of weird because they were both like super doughy foreign wrestlers about 10 years ago. And they came to WWE and really had to get in shape. And both of them are in phenomenal shape now. Tozawa might be in better shape than Gunther, actually. When you look at him, like Tozawa, if you go back and look at before pictures of Tozawa, it looks like a Slim Fast commercial. Like that dude was, he really stood out in his region for how big he was. And seeing him improve and stuff, I think Tozawa's underrated. I think he's a very good character. And I see people that were complaining a few weeks ago about all the releases and why Tozawa wasn't released with and it's like, or why this person was released but not Tozawa. And it's like, because Tozawa sells merch and kids like him.
Does he?
And he does. Yeah, because those Alpha Babe shirts, I guarantee they sell. I guarantee kids buy those shirts. And he's in something. He's involved in something. He's worked himself into a spot. So good for Tozawa. Moving on. That was a good one there, Chef Eddie. We have you and Cumia for $2. I guess Marvin is still sick. He needed time off. Yes, Marvin dealing with his the cold weather in Orlando gets to him and his sinuses act up. And so but yes, get well soon, Marv. I hope you are doing well. Next, we have John Williams. Tooney Town has been acknowledged. From our opening there, where you got to see Kev being acknowledged by Big Papa Pump. You got to see Beard being acknowledged multiple times by the Cornette crew, as well, in addition to Awful also. And you saw Bailey declare her love for me. So we are very popular, all of us on the internet. I'm actually racing towards 4,000 right now on Twitter. I know Awful just, you crossed 13, or was that Beard that crossed 13 and you crossed 10?
Yeah, Beard crossed 10.
Whoa. Oh, hey, you attacked me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I too loud?
No, I mean, you're not too loud. You were just much louder than you were before. Maybe turn it down.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Maybe I'll back up a little bit. But yeah, no, I just got 13,000 the other weekend or whatever. Big deal. And Beard got 10,000 this past week, I believe. And you're on your way to what? 4,000?
Just 4.
You're like 23 away, aren't you?
Yeah, really close. I'm really close.
Okay.
And I think Kev just crossed 1,000 recently.
I'm at 1,900.
1,900. He's almost at 2. So this man, by the way, who was silenced on Twitter for years because of his controversial takes, has now come back, crawled out from the dark dredges of Twitter jail, and has established a following.
What were some of the things you'd say, Kev? No, forget it.
No.
Marv will die.
Yeah, Marv will never be back. I will be the permanent host, and we will permanently be like this. So it won't be as fun when I host if Marv dies. So let's move on. Beard died Awful died last week. Remember when Awful died? Now he's back. So maybe Marv will come back, but we'll see. Right now we have Regina Sharp for $5. I declare the Royal Mutiny. Oh, and I have it. I can do it.
Glum gold, glum gold, glum gold, glum gold.
See, I didn't miss a beat. I'm right there, man. Marv doesn't have to worry about a thing. It's like he's here. It's like he's here. Thank you, Regina Sharp, for the $5. We got another $4.99 from John Williams, my favorite composer. Oh, by the way, in case anyone I'll fill in the blanks. In case anyone wonders why Marv isn't here, it's because Dis poisoned him to take over the show. I will not confirm nor deny. It's YouTube, so I can't say what actually happened.
This gave Marv hemorrhoids.
Ew. I think there's only no. You know what? No, not gonna do it. Forever Runner. Go ahead. Forever Runner, power to the 199. See, I can do that too. $1.99. So Diz has finally taken over the show. Congrats. Yeah, this is the way it's going to be from now on. Just deal with it. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say. I did anyway. Next up, we got Ezra Gober. Ezra Gober. Ezra, better than Ezra Gober. For $2. What up, Awful? It's all for you, buddy. Goat. You're the goat.
Hey. Thank you, Ezra. Checks in the mail.
Next up, we have the Last Call podcast for $5. Awful should send a Christmas card to Ryan Nemeth for his lawsuit. With all the detailed dirt and gossip, Awful has 2 years worth of Tony Khan jokes. We're gonna get into that lawsuit. And Awful,
yeah, dude, this book is writing itself. All I gotta do is just go through like the. All I gotta do is go through case law.
The case of Soft v. Softer and Punk will be studied in law journals for years to come. I'm sure.
I noticed nobody mentioned a lawyer, by the way. Like, there's no legal name or Esquire in there.
Well, it can't be. It can't be New because New would be representing Punk.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine it's probably one of those ambulance chasers. That's what I'm guessing. It's Ryan Nemeth. He doesn't. Do you think he really cares? We're gonna do it. I can go off.
I heard the name of the law firm was Boy We Cheatham and Howe.
Dewey. It's Dewey Cheatham and Howe.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Dewey Cheatham and Howe. That's the joke. Sorry, I had to pick. If we're doing
both 90 years old.
Yeah, if we're doing 70s SNL jokes, I will correct you on every one of them. Okay. So we're getting into Buckwheat's Dead next. Coming up, Rhinosaurus for $5. I know you said New Day should be the Hardys' final opponents, but wouldn't the Usos make far more sense? It would make the perfect torch passing. Maybe honestly. Okay, I know Awful is not a fan. Marv is, so I'll be positive. I think the Hardy's last opponent should probably be, if they're going to have one, should be Motor City Machine Guns. They've crossed over into WWE, and the Hardys are in TNA. There's an interesting story to be told there, and they did have a pretty decent feud in TNA, for that matter. But I think we're honestly, knowing the Hardys, I think we're at least 2 decades away from their final match. They're going to be the Rock and Roll Express. They're going to, if WWE doesn't let them wrestle, they're going to be wrestling on the indies forever. Those guys love wrestling. So I don't think we're going to see a final Hardy. We might get a fake final Hardys match in WWE, kind of like the Ric Flair thing. But I don't think it's going to be their actual last match. If you want a last match in WWE, I think going against, Street Profits, like some of these guys, they need to get that tag team division over. And I actually think they've been doing a really good job on SmackDown of building the tag division recently. But a win from one of those teams over the Hardys could really put it over the top. So if you want to, if they wanted to be perfect, you could do, it would have to be like Edge and Christian or the Dudley Boys, and you can't do that. So I don't know. What do you think, Kev?
Well, I was gonna say, didn't the Usos beat the Dudleys? So they got their win over a super team.
That's true. And who did the Hardys face when they came back last time at WrestleMania?
Weren't they in like some kind of crazy?
Yeah, there was a big gigantic tag team Royal Rumble or some mess.
Okay. Yeah. I that was when I had tuned out, so I was not watching at that time. So, but yeah, it'd be cool. Honestly, though, I think the Hardys are doing just fine in TNA. If I were the Hardy Boys, that's where I'd stay. I think they're welcomed there, they're appreciated there. They can work with young talent that benefits the industry as a whole. That's why I
got a question.
Sure,
I got a question. Are the Hardys? Do they sell merchandise? Like, I'm being dead up because it's just like, yes. I'm tired of the Hardy Boys, but I'm just one guy. But like, what is it? What's going on? Why do they remind me of like that family member that always gets in trouble, but the family still loves him. Like, oh, he did 3 years, but now he's on 3 years probation. we got to throw him a picnic or something. Like, we got to get him. We got to set him up with an apartment and get him a job. And
the run in TNA has been pretty good. They look a lot better than they did in AEW. As Marv said last week, you can always tell when the Hardy Boys are doing well in their life, I'll say. They aren't great, but they're about, I mean, look at how the Rock and Roll Express was in WWE in like 1996. And that's basically what the Hardys are now, which probably shouldn't be in WWE, but for a company like TNA, especially in the position where WWE is trying to use that as a secondary developmental, they can work out there, I think. Anyway,
well, when the Hardys come on, I'll be tuning out. That's all.
All right. What do you guys think, Kevin?
I was, you know what it is, when people who blow up in the WWE go back, that old magic gets rekindled. I got like a perfect example is Hogan. Like, even though Hollywood Hogan was incredible for WCW, Hogan got revitalized when he went back to that WrestleMania and worked The Rock. And what we gotta, it's just something about going home again that's special. It's bigger than what you would write off as a nostalgia pop. So I would say if the Hardys wind up, they just released new merch for the Hardys for tonight. So that kind of tells you that, somewhere in that metric, they know that they're going to be printing money just because they're floating around.
Yeah. Right. Moving on, we have a $10 super chat. I'm going to skip over because that's going to be a good segue into our first segment. But $5 from Chef Eddie again. Dis and Marvin are now involved in a new roid controversy in wrestling.
Hemorrhoid.
Hemorrhoid. Yeah. That's good. That's a good one, Chef Eddie. This is a good one. You're cooking over there. We have Mr. Jammy Jam 88, power to the 199. I'm in Marvin's position. Got a terrible cold. Ugh. You think that's the noise he wanted to make at the end there? Did I get it right? Or is it ugh? I never know.
I think it's just ugh.
Ugh. See, I thought ugh was UGG. Anyway, sorry, Mr. Jammy Jam 88. Get better. Also, Marv, get better. Everyone get better. I think Marv just has sinuses. He's a pussy. Anyway, moving on.
2020.
I'm joking. Regina Sharp again with $5. Dewey Cheatham and Howe is all the way to the Marx Brothers. That's older than Harley's material. But Harley Cameron. Good one. I appreciate that, Regina Sharp. So thank you very much for everyone who gave us super chats. We will be pausing after every segment, after every topic, to read your super chats out loud. And if you super chat more than $50, as always, we will stop and immediately call that one out. So we appreciate everyone who supports this podcast. We are growing. And if you want to support the podcast, go ahead and hit a like on this feed right now. It really does help us out and puts us up higher in the algorithm so we can get more people here. We got 154 people in chat right now, which is fantastic, but we'd love to see that number go up even more. Now,
Monster, we're coming for you.
Brad Shepard on Twitter. Anyway, as I teased before, we had a $10 super chat from BT23, $10. Reason why can't take Rock seriously as an actor. Why I can't take Rock seriously as an actor. If you're going to say I want your soul, put some effort into it. So we get a heel Cody. Rock can say your soul is mine. Shang Tsung. I saw a lot of that meme going around this past weekend. I think we're gonna have some dissenting opinions about the Rock segment from this past Friday, but thank you very much to BT23 okay, there it is. Sorry, it disappeared in my shit. Okay, so the Rock segment from Friday. Who watched it live? Awful. Were you watching it live?
I saw it, not live, but I did see it, and I must have saw it like 3 or 4 times.
Okay, so you've rewatched it. Or are you just talking about because I didn't know if you meant that you like intentionally sought it out and rewatched it, or if you just meant that they showed it 5 times on Raw yesterday, which is also true.
Which is probably true. But Yeah, I'm interested to know what you guys think of it.
I'll get us started here. Okay. Before I start, I want to say that I think that The Rock is a good performer. I think that The Rock.
No, this, please. We already know that.
Okay, do they?
Yes, they know.
I'm sorry. I just know that on Twitter, every time I say something negative about somebody, I have to post my entire history about that person before I can say it, or else someone will come out and be like, but this, that, this. So, no, The Rock is a good performer. And I think that there were aspects of that promo that were performed well. I don't think it was a good promo. We'll start with the promo itself before getting into what it means. I just think it was, it seemed like he went out there without a real plan. He talked in circles quite a bit. He turned heel and face like 5 times. I counted 5. It could have been more that he went from heel to face during that promo.
What did O'Shea say? He's like, The Rock's got. What do you say? If we say this dude is schizophrenic,
yeah. I want to point it awful. You were in the group chat when I was talking about it, because I said during the promo, I'm like, he has turned 5 times in this promo, and then I went on Twitter and everybody's talking about how much he turned. I'm like, good. I'm glad that I wasn't alone in thinking that he kept turning, because he came out and he looked like he did the goosebump thing, and then he walked down the aisle like he was going to be a heel, and then he went and picked up the guy's phone and gave it to him, which is like the ultimate face move on TV, to take time out of your entrance to go pick up somebody's phone and hand it back to them without doing anything. I mean, I understand you can't kick it into the crowd like it's ECW or something like that, but you can ignore it. You don't have to pay attention to it. He did. And then he goes in and he announces WrestleMania next year is going to be in New Orleans, which I believe on the Discord, people are already talking about doing a meetup. So if you're interested in meeting some Tooney Town fans, you can check out our Discord, www.tooneydisc.lol. But yeah, they're
pretty slick. That was real slick.
Thanks. You like that? Yeah. I'm good at plugging. I don't do the thing where I wait till the end. I just do it all the time. But he announced New Orleans, which I think is what we were all expecting. And then he moved in to Cody. We heard earlier in the show that Cody's segment got cut, which they were playing into the reports that the woman's segment got cut by saying that Cody's segment got cut. Which, by the way, the woman's segment got cut anyway.
Right?
I thought that was funny. It's like they threw him out there and they're like, nah, bring him back. They got very close to owning the sheets, and then you guys couldn't see my air quotes, but they got really close to that, and then they just did it anyway. So I thought that was pretty funny. But so Cody was upset about his segment getting cut, and they played into that, and then Cody came out and they had a little talk, and we got to see The Rock and Cody's moms together, which was taken. Okay, you're WWE. Right? I want to hear your thoughts on this. You guys are WWE. Do you take the background out of that photo that shows that it obviously happened at WrestleMania last year? Because I mean, The Rock was trying to be like, our moms are friends now. Look how great they've gotten along for the past year. And they show the photo of WrestleMania, the one time when they were in the same building together automatically anyway. I didn't think that was too smart, but it happened. It seemed the whole segment seemed kind of like something you put together in a couple days kind of thing. And then, in my opinion, and then The Rock goes on to tell Cody that he wants a corporate champion. To sum it up, he wants someone who will be his champion, because he's such great friends with Cody after last year. And for some reason, Cody didn't just slap him in the face and say no, which is what I thought Cody's character would do, but instead he is contemplating it and everything. And then he points and he says, I want that. And Cody's like, oh, the title? And he's like, no. I want your soul. And the crowd kind of went, ooh. And then afterwards we found out, because Rock, of course, had to have a press conference after the show, which they did a press conference because they announced WrestleMania. They didn't do a press conference because The Rock was there. Let's get that straight. I know a lot of people are making jokes about that, but that's why they did the press conference. But The Rock did say in the press conference, he's like, not everything has to be a match. Not everything has to lead, you know, because they asked him if he's going to fight Cody, and he said, not everything has to lead to a match in wrestling. Sometimes it can just be a storyline involving two people. So that's where we are. And there's been a whole lot of discussion online, including some conspiracy theory stuff going on that we'll get to in a bit. But it's been very, very divided.
What's the conspiracy?
I will get
the man did a goddamn promo on Smackdown. He said, okay, go ahead.
Wait, there's a conspiracy?
There's a you'll see what I mean when I get to it.
It better be good. This better be good.
It's more about how it got set up than it is about what actually happened. So yeah, that's where we are. And Cody came out on Raw last night and basically didn't say much to lead either way. Seth came out and said basically what the entire internet has been saying all weekend, which is like, why would you do that? I don't like, it doesn't make any sense after what happened last year for you to immediately be considering going with The Rock. And okay, to be fair, Cody did give reasons. He threw his brother under the bus by saying that he's in charge of taking care of his mother. So screw off, Dustin. You don't do anything. It's all Cody.
Dustin's mom.
Oh, that's right. It's not Dustin's mom. You're totally right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Dusty was a player. So he said he had to take care of his mom, he had to take care of his kids, and he's thinking about it because he looks at how he's already beat up and how other people ended up, and he doesn't want to be that. You know, typical face stuff when they're teasing a heel turn in this magnitude. The same stuff we heard every time Vince tried to get somebody on his side or whatever back in the day. So that's where we are with this storyline. It is leading to something that will happen at Elimination Chamber, where apparently Cody will be giving us his answer, and we will find out all the secrets of the story. Awful. On the promo itself,
yes.
What did you think of it? The promo itself, where were you?
The whole thing sucked. If you're asking me. Yeah.
Okay.
The Rock thought he was going to come into SmackDown and
You're
going to get the
Rock says, "Shut up."
Well,
you're better now. Go.
Yeah, he probably did something to my mic, but yeah, I thought the promo was ass. He seemed to be lost. I guess if the promo wasn't written on his hand, he's lost in the sauce out there. And just like you said, I think it was rushed. And I think Cody was trying to undercut it a little bit, like trying to be like, you know what? Let me feign confusion, complete confusion, as if this guy's talking like he's out of his mind. Like it wasn't the promo was just, I had to watch it 3 times to like really be like, yeah, this is bad. And I'm guaranteeing you, if you watch it again tonight or, you know, the next day or whatever, it's going to suck. I don't think it did anything for the storyline progression and the whole like on the nose. I don't want your belt. I want your soul. Come on, Mr. Subtlety. Can we do a little bit better in like giving us some sort of meat with this terrible promo?
To be fair.
Oh, I hate when you're fair.
No, I'm sorry. Last year after Royal Rumble, The Rock came in and he had his little thing with Cody, and I hated it.
Yeah, it was terrible last year too.
I was throwing a fit online. But you know what? It turned out really, really good. Now, I don't think that WWE is infallible. There are a lot of people online who really sweep for WWE in situations like this. They go back and say, no, everything was planned the whole time. Everything. Okay, go back in time. Triple H and The Rock don't have that great of a history together. Am I wrong?
No, they don't. Well, they didn't get along for a very long time.
Yes. I could totally, and the thing is, I'm just saying I don't know. I'm not saying that this is definitely what's going on, but I don't, for all we know, there is some kind of power issue going on between Triple H and The Rock. We don't know, right? The dirt sheets, they report things, they don't report things, and they're kind of all BS, and you can't really go by them. If you go by common sense, a wrestler who came up in your era, if I'm going from Triple H's point of view, A wrestler who
Mhm.
came up in your era has gone out and become a bigger star than you in the mainstream media, while you've sat in this company and done everything you can to make it what it is today. And then The Rock comes back and gets a job over you, and then suddenly you're boss. And I'm not saying that Triple H is mad about that. I'm not saying that he wants to quit or that there's any, but I can see where that would cause some issues, at least within Triple H, even if he doesn't make it public. And I can also see where that could cause creative issues, where there is a vision from up high from The Rock, who isn't there every week, and then there's a vision from Triple H. And when The Rock comes in, it does seem like it is two different people trying to pull at a rope from either side, and it ends up not going anywhere, because unless they can get on the same page, and they ended up getting on the same page last year, but there was definitely about 2 weeks last year where you could tell just from the scattershot booking and the storylines that we saw on TV that things were kind of in disarray for a bit. And
I wouldn't say disarray.
you would say that?
I would say more like Triple H was like, all right, do what you want to do. I'm going to sit here and watch it blow up in your face.
Yeah. I'll give you. Yeah. Well, I say disarray because I think that, and I think the same thing happened here. It seems like they're going on one road, and The Rock comes in and puts his hand up and makes that road stop and says, go down this way for a minute. And they have to go down that way. And it just kind of throws the whole tempo of the show off. Smackdown was terrible last week. It was a terrible show. When the highlight of the show is a DIY promo, it's a bad show. And it just wasn't a good show. And it felt like, it seems the timing is weird too, because they just announced that Road Dogg got promoted to being one of the head writers on SmackDown. So to have, go ahead.
He got put back in his job.
Yeah, he got put back in his, he's filling in for Michael Hayes, right? Isn't that kind of the whole thing there?
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people, it seems like the people who really, really like The Rock are blaming show quality on Road Dogg because it's his first. Road Dogg I guarantee he was not in that position long enough to affect that show in any meaningful way.
He got down that week. I always point out to people who like to shit on Road Dogg. I'm like, can you stop? Road Dogg was writing SmackDown before it became SmackDown Live.
Yeah.
Up until what? Vince took it away from him before he took the belt off of Cody. Off of Kofi. Yeah. And then you got to remember, like, any good decisions. Like, you can tell when Vince is and isn't paying attention to SmackDown. The second Vince started paying attention to SmackDown again, which was around Kofi Mania, is when the show started getting a little weird. Yeah. Which was Road Dogg says, here's what we got. We've got momentum with this. And Vince goes, no, we're going to do it this way. And then the show feels weird because, I'm sorry, Road Dogg gave us beat up John Cena. So shut the hell up.
Well, SmackDown's always been that way. Like when Vince was in charge, if you go all the way back to the SmackDown 6 and Paul Heyman's run and that whole thing there, where it seemed like everything was going perfect. And then 1 week SmackDown beats Raw. And suddenly that show just completely changed. It's like Michael Cole and Taz were off commentary. John Cena was the main focus. It's everything. Or I'm sorry, Brock Lesnar. John Cena wasn't big yet, but everything changed in 1 week when SmackDown beat Raw. So yeah, a lot of people have been stifled because Vince decided to poke his nose into things. But anyway, back to the SmackDown or the segment itself. Kev, what did you think of just the promo taken out of context?
It was a weird promo. The Rock has I didn't think Cody was trying to undercut. I think Cody was out there doing his job because, you got a tale of two Rocks. One was the Rock, one was the I'm shooting here, and then the other one's I'm in character one. So I'm shooting is talking about how they have such a great relationship and their moms and blah blah blah. Then Shoot Rock is like, hey, listen, I'm actually everybody's boss. So I'm not crazy about how things are going here, and I need my guy. That if you're having that conversation in real life with someone that you have a decent relationship with, but they are your boss, there is going to be some confusion. You're not going to know how to respond. If you're smart, you shouldn't respond right away. So I think, from Cody's perspective, everybody left the way they should have. Where it gets wonky with The Rock is, like you said, when The Rock shows up, everything stops. Nobody knows how long The Rock is going to go. So nobody knows how long any other segment can be. I can't even really remember much of what happened on SmackDown, other than every 5 minutes The Rock is coming. All I got was, Cody lost his segment, and then the girls were supposed to have a segment, and then they didn't. Okay. I don't remember anything else that happened on SmackDown. And then so The Rock comes out, and because he has that crazy kinetic energy feel about him, he just talks forever until he can get his groove.
Yeah,
that's kind of the problem with when you wrestle and you don't.
Good point.
It takes you a minute to get your groove back, and because The Rock is such a prolific speaker and he is the boss, he is not pigeonholed. Like, there's no Vince there to go, all right, I'm going to give you some leeway, but you got, here's your hard number. You get to the point. That's not there anymore. So.
And The Rock has enough power now where he doesn't have to answer to anyone.
That's it. Are you really going to tell the boss? Are you going to tell the chairman of the board to hurry the hell up? So yeah, it's just the problem. When The Rock's on TV, look, this time, when Rock was doing SmackDown almost every week, right? The Rock promos, the closer we got to Mania, were fire.
Mm-hmm.
When he first came back, you're like, what is this dude even talking about? So it's like he needs time to get his groove, but at the same time, it's like, well, it was confusing, and I guess it got everybody talking. So in that sense, it was successful. It did what it needed to do. But holy crap! One, I thought that should have opened the show, not closed the show. That should have.
It didn't do either. It didn't do either.
Oh, that's true, because there was one more thing after that, right?
Yeah, there were two things. They had the tag team segment, and then they had the Damian Priest and Braun Strowman versus.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Versus the Bloodline.
So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Well, again, that tells you how effing disjointed SmackDown was. I couldn't even remember what happened at the end of it.
Promo was so bad, Kev, that
it was
the finish involved The Rock stopping in the aisleway, I think maybe 3 times. And I just thought it killed the heat dead with each successive time. He turned back around, looked at Cody. Cody had to look, walked about 10 paces, turned around again. Confused, and the crowd didn't really know how to react.
To me, I don't like the winks and nods that The Rock does to the audience. That's the thing that kind of bothers me the most, right? Here's what this promo felt like to me. Watching the promo as it happened, the thoughts that were going through my head. This seems like he did not like the heat that he got coming off of the Raw debut on Netflix. He did not like the fact that people wanted to see the final boss and didn't get the final boss. They got CEO Rock. And he decided, and they wanted him to come in and announce WrestleMania being in New Orleans. And he goes, okay, well, I have to come up with something to do. I can't just come in and announce WrestleMania in New Orleans because I'll get people shit all over me again. So let's come up with a storyline where I can cut a promo and I can be the final boss, kind of. And that way, people won't feel like I didn't do anything or that I wasn't true to my character. But by doing that, he played CEO Rock and final boss and the people's champion all in one segment. He would go from announcing that that WrestleMania is going to be New Orleans and getting the crowd excited, to making fun of venereal diseases, to going back and talking about how Cody's mom and his mom are best friends, to saying, I'm going to slap the sip out your mouth. There was no through line. He couldn't make up his mind. And it seemed like every time he was about to get really, really get a lot of heat, he kind of pussied out of it, he kind of backed out. I don't want. I want to be CEO Rock too, and I also want to. There's a little bit of I want to be the actor Dwayne Johnson. You know,
I would say that
Moana.
I would say that was probably intentional though, because he wasn't out there to heel turn.
Right.
He's supposed to be he's supposed to be for lack of a more on the nose comparison, he's supposed to be Lucifer in this situation.
He's
Lucifer, Lucifer presents. Well, Vince was always Vince. Everybody Vince was like I'm evil at all times, even when I'm being good. But like
right.
The trick of Lucifer is that Lucifer presents himself as your friend. He's doing you a favor.
Okay.
So it can't be all hellfire and brimstone when he's trying to sweet talk you. While at the same time, if you pay attention to what he's saying, he is kind of letting you know, hey, brother, as soon as that ink dries, I'm going to F you. He
just doesn't have any subtlety, right? There's no subtlety about it for him. Like go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's but also at the same time, hey, it's wrestling, and you don't always need subtlety. Like this was done so that the kids watching understood what was going on.
Yeah, it's for the kiddies now.
Okay.
Well, look at. We talked about this before. Cody is not Cena. He's not Hogan. He's not Rock. He is more like Brett. And Brett gave you phenomenal matches, right? Brett was always very entertaining, but Brett was at his most entertaining when he had a major storyline beat. Some kind of internal conflict, right? And right now, although Cody's been giving you banger matches, and although he had a hell of a time with Solo and Owens, Cody's never really been in peril, and Cody hasn't really done anything super interesting. So in order to get Cody heated up a little bit going into Mania, he needs a little rock dust. He needs a little something to make him a little bit more of a compelling character. Also to shut up these weirdos who want to see the guy turn heel.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Yeah, there's no reason for Cody to turn heel. And anyone who thinks that this is Cody's heel turn, it's not going to happen. Cody is a perfect babyface. And there's no reason to turn him heel. Unless business starts going down and tanking, there's no reason. However, I'll tell you what hit me right after the show. In the middle of me posting a long tweet where I was complaining about this, it hit me. If John Cena takes his offer, that's a WrestleMania storyline. That gives you the heat you need for Cena versus Cody. I was not one that was for Cena versus Cody before, but if you do something where Cena, because Rock was talking about what's best for business, and Cena was talking about what's best for business. And if you do something where John Cena, if it's kind of like the old guard of John Cena and The Rock, for lack of a better term, the Vince guys, versus the new school of Triple H and Cody, that's a storyline that can make some money. I don't know if they're going to go that route. And I don't think you necessarily even have to turn John Cena heel. And that also might be the reason that Rock wasn't going full heel, because he knows that they're going to have a tweener Cena situation coming up where he can play both sides and he can say he's doing bad things, but he's doing it because it's what's best for the business, or he's not even doing bad things. He's just doing things he would have done in 2015. And if that's the direction they're going, which I kind of feel like it might be, we'll find out soon enough, which you can, by the way, join us for our live watch party this Saturday during Elimination Chamber. And we will all find out together. If that's the direction they're going, I see it, but it seems like a lot of things got derailed by that. And I don't like the direction. And I think one thing that we can do, because everyone says, give it time, let it play out. It's cooking. We can always complain about the beats along the way, right? That's what we do. That's why we have a podcast. That's why we're online, is to express what we like and don't like about certain situations. People take it very, very personally when you insult The Rock.
Yeah. No, it's The Rock. It just has that, just has that power about him. Again, look at it. This time last year, right when we all first got together, Cody wins the Rumble, and then all of a sudden is not in the main event of WrestleMania. Like we get to that SmackDown, Rock shows up and derails everything, and everyone's like, "What the hell just happened?" But then what happened? They realize they messed it up, and then you get to that press conference. You get to that, what was it, a Thursday press conference?
Mhm.
You get to that Thursday press conference, and you see one of the greatest wrestling moments in history play out.
Right.
Yeah, so
And that's
like,
why. Go ahead. That's why I said we have to give it time. We have to let it play out. I understand that. There are a lot of people in the chat who are saying that maybe Punk would take the offer from The Rock. And I think if he does that, then that is The Rock completely derailing things, because it makes absolutely no sense for Punk to do it, especially when he has that favor from Heyman. You kind of get that storyline out of the, gone at that point. I don't know.
They could all tie together though, because Heyman has a connection to The Rock.
True.
And 90% of Punk's promos, he takes a minute to remind you he's not there to make friends, he's there to make money. So him coming together with Dwayne and forming an unholy alliance
to get to get his WrestleMania main event.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, so the favor could play into it. But I don't know. The Punk thing is weird because, as I said before, I don't think the person that aligns with The Rock has to turn heel.
Mm-mm.
I think it can be a heel to part of the audience and a face to the other part of the audience.
Yeah.
I made this distinction with Gunther earlier in the week. Gunther reminds me of Bret Hart in 1997, 1996, except instead of Canada versus the US, it's the IWC versus the regular fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gunther is a face to the IWC. Everything he says makes him a face to people online. He is a heel to the Jey Uso fans, to the casual fans. And they let him play that up well. And he, because he talks about being respectful and he talks about that kind of thing, which is something a face would do. You can do that thing again with whoever aligns with The Rock. You don't have to turn them full heel. So you can still sell plenty of Punk merchandise with him being The Rock's champion. As long as you don't go too, my main issue with it is that if they are going the route of the corporate champion, I don't want that at all. I am so done with the corporate champion storyline that we've had played out for 2 decades in WWE before Vince was gone. Every time, go ahead.
Well, and we really don't know what he means yet too, though, right? Because he didn't say, TKO's champion. He said his champion.
Right.
So is he looking for a protege to pass, to pass his knowledge down to? This is why everything is jacked up right now. There was no doubt on anybody's mind that this Roman Rock match was supposed to be happening this year.
Mm-hmm.
There was just no doubt. Everything was leading to it. The stealing of the Ulafala, and now it's like it's kind of done, and the story's in this weird spot now where Roman went through all this stuff, and why? So now there's no payoff for Roman, and now Roman is going to be in a match with Seth, because that's where we're getting to.
And he should be. I have no problem with Roman versus Seth. That is a feud that needs to pay off. With how much they've been building it for the past 3 years, they need a payoff to that match, to that feud, and it'll be a hell of a match.
It just wasn't now. This should have been, it's just all signs pointed to Roman Rock. So now you're kind of like, okay, well, they haven't done anything to actually transition you away from it and find Roman beat Solo, which we all knew he was going to, but that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Now Jacob can go do his own thing.
I think the thing with The Rock is that I think WWE fans don't like to admit it, but sometimes the dirt sheets aren't always wrong, or aren't always right, or always wrong. Sorry. I don't think The Rock is going to be at WrestleMania, because if The Rock was going to be at WrestleMania, I think he'd be facing Roman Reigns.
I think I don't think he's wrestling.
I don't think he's. That's what I meant. I don't think he's wrestling at WrestleMania because a lot of them still say, "Oh, he's going to wrestle. He's going to wrestle. He's going to fight Cody. He's going to do this." If The Rock was going to be wrestling at WrestleMania, he would be fighting Roman Reigns. Period. Especially after that got taken from us last year.
Well, yeah.
So,
gentlemen, can't that still happen?
Cody doesn't fight The Rock. I kept saying, like, I don't know why people keep thinking this match is going to happen. It's not. That's just something it could never be in the cards. It would be a David Goliath situation that would not do any good for either one of them.
No. Now, Awful, I think, was talking about Roman versus Rock still happening. Is that what you were? Okay. I don't think so. I think that's something that they would have. Here's the main reason. It might still, because have you seen the ticket sales for WrestleMania?
I have not, actually. What are they looking like?
They're not bad, but they're not where they usually are by this time during WrestleMania.
Wait till after Saturday. Then there will be a lot of ticket sales because the card will look that much cleaner.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm getting to, is that if we get past Saturday and if those ticket sales don't come, I could see a situation where somebody up high in TKO is like, we need to make sure we get The Rock versus Roman Reigns on WrestleMania. I can see it happening. It would feel rushed. But I could I don't know. There's still a month and a half. Like, WrestleMania is not close right now, so it could still happen. Although I think the reason that The Rock isn't wrestling probably has something to do with insurance reasons with Disney or another film company, because I can't imagine another reason that he wouldn't be wrestling, especially after what he did after WrestleMania last year. Yeah. He was definitely setting up to wrestle at this WrestleMania. So
shout out to my girl Kathleen Kennedy.
You'll get to that on Thursday. But there. So what I was talking about when I was talking about conspiracy theories, let me show you a little something here. Okay. There's a lot of people. So this segment came across rushed. This segment came across like it wasn't planned. They cut a few segments to get to this segment, and all the promos seemed really disjointed and not planned out. However, this started making the rounds on Twitter this week, and it is a picture which appears to be Cody advertising that him and The Rock are going to be on Smackdown Friday, February 21st in New Orleans, Louisiana. That's
drinking what that scissor.
That's what that picture appears to be, correct? Now, there are a lot of people who have been going on about this, saying, see, it's totally planned. It's 100%. They knew he was going to be there. This is they told us he was going to be there, and this is the proof. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me tell you something. If The Rock was going to be on a random Smackdown the week before Elimination Chamber, they would not have waited till the day before to say it. Okay, they would not have done that. They would have been promoting let's take this from the perspective of USA. Okay. Look at the rating they got announcing it the day before. Could you imagine the rating they would have got if they would have announced it on Raw, or if they would announce it the week before on SmackDown, or if they knew it on February 1st? Could you imagine the rating they would have got if they had a whole month to promote this appearance? Could you, and do you think the WWE and USA care about anything other than ratings? Do you think they would have kept this? Now, for this to be true, WWE would have had to have an intern drop a small Easter egg into a video. Let me show you the whole video. I have the whole video here. So let's look at this whole video. This is him. Okay, so here he is. Yes, he did fight Kevin Owens at the Rumble. He did not fight Sami Zayn on SmackDown in February. He did not fight that little kid on February 14th. He did not fight Kevin Owens on February 17th. But you get this on February 21st. And then apparently he'll be fighting Matthew McConaughey February 28th. So that's what you get. That's what you get when you watch the whole video. Okay. Right. This is a Cody's greatest hits collection. And it just so happened to line up that the one with The Rock was on the day that The Rock was there. That was.
Can I say something as a video editor myself, an amateur one at that? You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. I said, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So if they know that The Rock is going to be there on the 21st of February, they would edit a video in such a way as to put an overlay of The Rock and Cody Rhodes within that frame of February 21st for SmackDown. I don't see what the crazy idea is, like, oh, that's just coincidence. No. Every frame of a video is looked at, except in AEW. Every frame is completely forgotten about.
The craziness is that they didn't do it anywhere else, awful. They did it on a video that was going to be on a Cody Rhodes pinned tweet that 100,000 people would see, and they didn't mention it anywhere else. They didn't mention it on TV.
Precisely.
They wait.
Precisely.
I have no idea what side of this argument you were on right now.
No. I'm just saying, okay. In a vacuum, that video was edited specifically. My belief is that video was edited specifically knowing that The Rock was going to be there February 21st. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Okay.
If they knew that he was going to...
That's the only proof that I have. Just
awful.
Based on, like... Okay, go ahead.
No, you are a business-minded person.
Mm-hmm.
You are WWE.
I'd like to think so.
Okay, if you were WWE and you knew that The Rock was going to be there on SmackDown, and
right.
you're USA, and you know, okay, imagine you're USA, and you find out that WWE dropped an Easter egg to 100,000 people on X, letting them know that The Rock was going to be there, but didn't tell anyone else, so they can't spike a real rating.
Right.
Is that good business?
It's not the best. When was The Rock advertised for this particular SmackDown?
Thursday.
Was it like this past Thursday?
Yes, Thursday.
I got another question. What was The Rock's, did he hit over 1 million viewers on that NXT episode he showed up on?
No.
Interesting.
Well, it was like 900 though, right?
Yeah, it was like 900.
Yeah, it was 900,000.
All intents and
But-
purposes, it's a million.
Okay, but we saw last SmackDown's rating, correct? It wasn't that great for the Rock appearance.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm saying is maybe Rock doesn't have as much, maybe
Right.
his Q rating isn't as high as it used to be a year ago. Maybe he doesn't draw them in as much as he did a year ago.
You know who wouldn't think that is USA. Okay. USA would be furious if they found out
WWE doesn't think that as well. Like they think that he brings in a ton of people.
So what side are you arguing on here? You keep going.
He didn't move the. No.
You're like the Rock promo from Friday. You keep going back.
No, I'm saying that the WWE knew that The Rock was going to be there February 21st. They may not have Rock being the boss of bosses, the final boss, may not have wanted advertised and maybe wanted to have like a pop-up shop type of atmosphere. Like, hey, I'm going to be there Friday. And see what it does. It obviously didn't do that great because I don't think the ratings were too much better than what they were last week for SmackDown. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yeah.
Or is that?
I think
I don't have my phone on me, but I'm going to look for these ratings right now.
The Rock's schedule is a little more complicated than that.
Right.
I think they hoped he could be there, and there was no guarantee that he could until he was able to do it.
And I don't think that they let the intern who put that video together know that The Rock was going to be there.
Yeah, that's like way too. If you're doing that, that's like something you planned out months in advance.
Right.
That's not The Rock popping up to say, "Hey, WrestleMania is here next year, and I'm going to cut a weird promo." Is not worth paying some interns the extra money to put this together at the last minute.
And I think my other issue with this is that all of the comments that I see pushing this out there are like WWE did it to stick it to the sheets. They did it to stick it to Dave Meltzer. And it's like WWE does not care about sticking it to Dave Meltzer that bad. They're not going to sacrifice business just the only the possibility that I could see, right, is that they had The Rock coming to this SmackDown to announce WrestleMania. They knew that was going to happen. And then as they drew closer, The Rock said, I need to do something because we saw what happened when I showed up on Raw. So we need to add something to it. So they announced it a day ahead of time. They planned out a storyline really quick. That's probably the realistic situation that I see happening. I don't for 1 second think that video meant anything.
And SmackDown had 1.736 million viewers for a Friday night. That's effing phenomenal on the USA Network.
So The Rock, so he does have cash there. Awful.
Yeah, if that was on Fox, if that was Fox, that would have been 2.5 million people, probably, maybe a little more.
Yeah. So we have that. And I think we've kind of beaten this topic to death here. So we got a super chat here.
You can say that shit again.
We got a super chat in here. So let me pop it up on the screen. BT23 for $2. What do you believe happens with Rosa, Ford, and Bane? Well, that's interesting that you asked because that is our next topic. Who saw this? Did you guys see? I'm sure we've all seen the.
Yeah, we've seen it.
The chair spot. Okay.
You know what sucks though? Just a little fourth wall shit. Like, I've heard everybody's opinion on it to the point where I've got no opinion on it. Like, so I'm like, okay, I really have no opinion on it. She flubbed up. I don't know if it was green or goddamn conspiracy over the, were they really trying to work Thunder Rosa to look like an a-hole out there? I don't even know. I just know it made AEW look bad, and it's par for the course for that company.
Real quick before we get into it too much, if you want us to talk about, if you have a question for us, go ahead and give us a super chat. We will make sure to answer it after every topic that we discuss, and super chats over $50 will get immediate recognition on the show. So, Kev, how did you enjoy that segment?
What time is it?
Okay.
I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
For Thunder because it's not her fault.
No.
I noticed that after I had responded to your tweet, the Disco Inferno had also had responded to you, and our answers were very similar.
My answer was she should have cracked her in the head anyway. That was my answer.
That's what's supposed to happen. If you are trained properly, when you go into a match, if you're working with an old school vet, and I mean like a legitimate old school vet, not these not these softer than baby shit wrestlers running around now, the old school guys, they will tell you first and foremost, our responsibility is to make sure everybody looks good. If you look good, I look good. If you're going to make me look like a fool, I'm not going to let that happen. There's very basic rules in wrestling that you should know if you're going to get in the ring and you go do a segment. When a match is over, if a baby face is standing and they can bow up, the heel should not be within grabbing distance of the baby face. Because if the baby face gets their hands on you, they are obligated to whoop your ass. The heel is always supposed to stay away, and yes, even powder. There's only very few occasions where it will call for some kind of nose-to-nose confrontation, or in a special case where we know that they wanted the exact opposite to happen was the Hogan Bully Ray stare down during the Impact days, where Bubba actually got in trouble for backing away from Hogan. And Hogan's logic was, no, I'm here to make you. That's the only time that does not happen. If a babyface is coming into the ring with an equalizer, specifically a weapon, all the heels in the ring are supposed to hightail it the hell on out of there because the babyface is obligated to smash your effing head in. Thunder comes in, you can very clearly see her tell them to get out of there. The second she started to swing that chair, she should have knocked their stupid heads off into that empty arena, because They made Thunder look like a fool, and because Thunder looked like a fool,
But then she gets fired.
Right. It's not just get fired anymore. That's the thing, Kev, is that this day and age and that company, she would have been sued.
I'm serious. No, I understand you, but I'm talking about in an actual professional wrestling company that functions like how professional wrestling is supposed to happen, and not like a bunch of needy babies who are overly privileged with some pussy who pretends to be the boss. Not wanting to do it because he's too busy being high and weak to actually run his company. The Thunder should have smashed their freaking heads in because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. The second she cocked back, she may be aiming for her head, but guess what? If you don't want to get hit with the chair, your job is to duck and run away. Her job is to complete her swing. Your job is to duck and run away. If you don't duck, well, you're the moron who got what you deserved. Mm-hmm. That is it. That is it. Plain and simple. Those two. One, I can't even. This is why you don't put indie people who have never done national TV in those big spots. And yes, Mega was trained by Damian Adams, who is a super trainer of super trainers. All of his people do extremely well. We all know Damian, especially an old school fan from WB New York, Velocity, Jacked, Metal. He was that guy who was always on. The good friend of mine, awesome guy. She's also trained by Rip Rogers. Rip Rogers is essentially the freaking Yoda of wrestling school teachers, right? So she's got a fantastic pedigree. But working TV and working a match are two entirely different skill sets. Yeah. And AEW, who has been on the air for over 5 years now, they should know better. This is what do walk.
Is the referee wired to the back at all? Like, why was he not given cue or any sort of like, hey, get between them, do something? But see, Tony Khan doesn't know that type of the business and the process of professional wrestling. Just because you know what happened in 1983 between Tommy Rich and Ric Flair doesn't give you the right to write professional wrestling storylines. Like what Kev just described, ladies and gentlemen, is something that even I didn't know about. So it's just like, how is Tony Khan going to know about that? Yeah. Hey, if somebody runs down to the ring and they're not willing to powder out and they're not willing to back out from you having a chair, you need to swing for the fences. How many people knew that before Saturday?
Well, what I mean? So let me offer an alt. It was Wednesday, I think, wasn't it? Last Wednesday.
Yeah, whenever. That day I learned, that's for sure.
So the day after, of course, the internet was filled with dirt sheet reporters reporting about WWE's treatment of women, which means something went bad in AEW. Because every time something bad happens in AEW with women, they immediately turn to WWE and say Natty didn't get pushed or something. They always jump on that. But the people who report stuff that seems like they will actually report stuff about AEW and not just jerk them off all the time, those people implied that something happened backstage between Rosa and Bane after the show or during the show, that Rosa was very angry with Megan Bane. On top of that, there is speculation that this is an instance of the inmates running the asylum. They can get away with it, whatever they want. And Megan Bane is in a group who is partial to someone who Rosa is not friends with. And that could have been part of the situation because apparently Rosa may be the one getting punished in this situation.
Well, because and that's why I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I also made it a point to say that's also why Rosa didn't take her head off, because we all know what would happen if she did what she was supposed to do. Like every old school vet would have told her to do. Rosa's old school. She's got a fantastic pedigree. She's tough. She's tough as they come. So you know that she did not smash that skull in lightly. So we all know what's going to happen. She does what she's supposed to do. She saves her credibility. Is your number one ally, because now And not to derail, but so credibility. Rosa left that segment with zero credibility, and it's
100%.
a trickle up and down effect because she looked so ridiculous. The two girls look terrible. Everybody else in the show looks terrible. The brand looks terrible. All we can talk about is how Bush League AEW is.
Right.
Versus if Rosa smashed her effing head in, we would probably talk about how that segment ended awesome when Rosa beat the crap out of everybody with the chair and she was left standing.
Even if they wanted to use the segment that they've been posting all week, people replying to this with Zeus no selling the chair shot. Even if Mega Bane would have no sold a chair shot from Rosa, that still would have been better than this.
Anything.
It would,
But we know, so Rosa swings the chair, she goes backstage, and someone's going to boo-boo face and complain because they did the wrong thing. And in this dumb company, Rosa's going to get in trouble, and then someone's going to go onto the interwebs and tell the sickos to rally and shit all over her for the next 3 weeks.
And they are.
It's same old boring bullshit that we get, whether it's Baker, whether it was Thunder, it's infantile.
What's funny about this situation is that it looks like Baker is the one who could be having an issue with Rosa, and that it is a whole infighting. It's all ridiculous.
This
is a ridiculous company.
Yeah, right. This Housewives of AEW nonsense. Listen, I got a question. If Rosa hits this brawl and she does get fired from AEW, how many? You mean to tell me her phone isn't going to ring off the hook for bookings?
Rosa gets fired from AEW, and she is on NXT. Yet she's on NXT the next Tuesday.
Oh man, she should have taken that shot. She should have taken that shot.
Here's the problem, though.
What's the problem?
She would have gotten sued. It's not about what happened.
But now I got lawyers.
Sued. No, it doesn't matter. Every single person in AEW would come to Megan Bane's defense. That's the company that they run. It's that if somebody is left, they no longer matter. They are an enemy of the
expected.
State.
That's expected.
Tony Khan would stand up and say, no, Megan Bane was supposed to stay in the ring and Rosa was not supposed to hit her. And Rosa would lose. And she would be, Rosa can't afford to get sued by someone who is backed by Tony Khan doing the lawsuit. That's what would happen. You know
what happened there? Bane would get a phone call from Rip Rogers and go, what the F did you do?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have to be a certified expert to know what that segment was supposed to be.
Right.
Straight up. And again, she has been schooled in how to do this right. So the fact that this went that wrong is baffling. And do we have the Brian Alvarez clip?
No.
Of him bitching about how they just don't do production meetings? Because that's the other problem with this.
Mm-hmm.
And so Alvarez went on, and this is not the first time I've heard him say it. And when I watched him say it, he said it with such contempt that he's even tired of saying it. He said his phone blew up for phone calls from people going, "This is why we need to do production meetings." For some reason, this guy refuses to do production meetings. Old school ROH would make new talent or talent that had been there a while do a walkthrough of their entrance so that they knew how fast they needed to walk, so that the camera crew could be in position, so that they knew when exactly the chyron would pop up to give the credits for their music, so that they knew exactly where to be. This is ROH. This is a tree falls in the woods, no one hears it. Was it a good match? ROH. So if they can do it, why isn't the second most successful wrestling company, greatest ever of all time, not doing it? Why are they not doing it? They're the most profitable thing ever in the history of ever. So why aren't they doing it? The WWE does it almost ad nauseum. They account for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Weather, sun glare, wind. You get there early, you walk it through a million times. They even want to make sure that it looks good on camera. I remember when had to be like When was oh god, what year was it? When was Sheamus world champ on SmackDown?
2010-ish, right around there.
So Bull James had a backseat. He was in the ring. He was in the ring for a contract signing, and they had to make him change where he was standing because he was physically bigger than Sheamus, and they didn't want one of the security guards being bigger than the heavyweight champion. That's how much thought and effort goes into putting these segments together on WWE TV. So, yeah.
I have a theory about. So I was explaining. Max asked me because he watched AEW a couple times. He just doesn't like it, but he asked me why I don't like it because he hears me talk about it on the show and stuff like that. And I told him it's because I think the main problem is that there is no through line throughout the shows. Right? It is so disjointed. It is so random. The tone shifts from second to second to second when you watch that show. You never know what you never can settle into a feeling or an emotion because they change it the next second. And I think it's because, as we found out by all reports, Tony just lets, if you've ever been in WWE or you have any kind of name in wrestling, you're basically in charge of whatever. You can do whatever you want to do. And you can't have a production meeting where, number one, half the guys aren't going to show up. You really think MVP is going to a Tony Khan production meeting? You think Bobby Lashley is going to a Tony Khan production meeting? You think Adam Copeland is going to a Tony Khan? These guys are not going to take their time and do this. Jericho would, because he would take over and, of course, run the thing. But the other guys aren't, because they're going to go, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I'm going to do my thing. You go ahead and do whatever. So it becomes a constant game of my segment can be better than yours. Let's top the last thing that happened. I bet I can do better. So there's no cohesive energy between the segments or the show at all. It's like you're watching Saturday Night Live with a bunch of skits that have nothing to do with one another instead of watching a drama that plays out over 2 hours.
Oh, you know what you forgot to mention too?
Damn, you told Max all that?
Yeah, I did. Except I didn't use the SNL. I didn't use SNL. It's like you're watching YouTube videos instead of watching a movie. So
you also forgot that sometimes we'll get the same segment with the same ending 8 times in a row.
Yeah.
In a 12-segment show. Here's the other problem. So if you're not going to do walkthroughs, you know who takes care of this for you? Your agents. But nobody listens to the agents, right? Because the agent's supposed to walk over, hey guys, here's your finish. Let's go through, let's talk about how this is going to make sense. Then the agents get together to make sure that they're not, that there are no repeats and finishes, or that everybody's okay with the finishes. And if there's something that's a little too similar to something else, they'll come and go, hey, these guys have been doing this in hour one, match 2. We got to change it up a little bit. What do you guys think about this? And then the 3 of you sit down and figure it out. We know they don't do that there because they all know better than their agent, even though they may be some indie garbage who got a contract that they had no business getting. And it all comes down to Tony is not a leader. Do you think that anybody's skipping a Vince production meeting?
No.
Right?
Or Triple H, for that matter.
Or Triple H production meeting, or an HBK production meeting. Matt Bloom, Matt Bloom, Billy got
Gabe Sapolsky.
Yep. They say show up, you show up. If you are a professional, you have an obligation to do your effing job the way the job needs to be done. Every place except for AEW.
Isn't that a shame? Hey, listen, this is the end result. What happened with Thunder Rosa and the other 2 ladies is the end result of not weaning out the unprofessionals in professional wrestling. It's the participation award. You've got people of all different stripes, of all different natures coming into this fold, and they're not trained properly because there's at least in the last 30 years, maybe 20. There hasn't been like a firm foundation of like what it is to be a professional wrestler. It's now has to do more with entertainment and branching off into other avenues of entertainment. And it's just like, but if you want to be a professional wrestler, you don't have to know half of this stuff. It's go along, but
No,
there is
because
no
you can-
territorial
you can-
system and
you
all
can
that.
learn,
You know,
because according to AEW, you can learn it in your backyard, and you can get all the experience you need from the
and there's the
indie
problem.
that you ran in Tupelo, Mississippi. That's all you
Well,
need. You don't-
exactly. Yep. And that's what pissed me off, because there's no the business of doing business should be a major priority for anybody who wants to be taken seriously. And that doesn't mean someone who's looking to get to the next level, because I always say it. The best wrestlers on the planet are probably guys you don't know. You've never even heard of them. The indie wrestling was supported by the weekend warrior guy who's been around forever, and just for whatever reason didn't make it. They're generally the ones who teach you how you actually pay your dues, because half these guys think that getting up and putting a ring together and paying the dues that's a bare ass minimum requirement.
Yeah, right.
Charles Robinson and John Cena put the effing ring together. Still, who are you? Who'd you ever beat? They teach about what actual respect looks like. It's not just going and dead fishing someone, when you go to shake their hands. They teach you about what actual timing looks like, why you do things the way you should do it, the why and the how.
Right.
But that's just it, Kev. They also don't. I believe that there's no system in place that weans out the people that don't want to be there. I was just watching this little documentary about Navy SEALs, and they've got them doing 1,000 push-ups to the point where these guys throw up. And then what happens? People get up and quit. Because why? They reevaluate why they're there. But for those who go through the course, they want to be there. They will go through the fire to be there. And that's what's missing in professional wrestling. It's just like, I want to be a wrestler because I just know it gets me to Hollywood somehow.
Well,
that's how I think.
That's why they used to beat the shit out of you. That's why, listen, the Doghouse. I will say I didn't have to do a lot of that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know guys who, during the Doghouse days, they used to give you a weight plate. A weight plate. It may have been 10, 15, maybe even a 25 pounder, and they fucking make you back bump with the weight plate on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing. And now you're talking about that story, right? But you see people online complaining about Bully Ray yelling at the guy during LFG, and all he did was cut a promo on him. Yep. It's like back in the day, these guys, Hulk Hogan got his leg broke when he tried to become a professional wrestler. And so that's where we were 40 years ago. But now somebody gets yelled at or gets a promo cut on them while they're trying to mouth off to a veteran on their first day in the business, and and people go on. That's why it's just the generation. It's not.
Look at the idiocy of what was 97% of speaking out. My trainer was mean to me. They were verbally abusive. They made me uncomfortable. I was like, well, so if you get the actual story, why was your trainer mean to you? I can tell you why. It's because every time you go to do a hip toss, you're not planting. And so when the person slips and they break their neck, you've now paralyzed someone because you're incompetent. Wrestling is a sport that requires urgency and the utmost concentration. If you can't handle getting yelled at, you pick the wrong sport. Right. You need mental toughness. This is exactly why.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly why the WWE has abandoned indie wrestlers by and large, and they only want athletes.
Except when they can get in and train them on a ground level like they're doing now with the WWID program.
And the only reason this is happening is because the indies are so effing broken.
Mm-hmm.
That they're so effing broken because of all these fly-by-night bullshit schools with guys who never did anything. Opening up schools that they shouldn't be opening up, and unleashing just plagues of ignorant idiots who will tell you that they're the greatest thing ever. Then now the WWE has to get in there. That's why, listen, as much as I made fun of what's his name, Parker Bordeaux, right? I also tell you that the Parker Bordeaux going there and teaching you a seminar is going to give you more than what your average indie school is going to give you, because he learned from the best of the best. So even if you retain only a quarter of it, it's still better than what 90% of these kids are getting anyway. The WWE has taken the mentality of, we're going to take them, we're going to sign them. We know more than half of them are going to wash out. But of that 55% who don't make it, if 30% of them go on and stay in this and go into the indies, that 30% will make it better over time. And we'll get back to a space where you can sit down and we're not going to be disgusted by what we see. It's essentially the mentality of, in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Everybody's running around blind, so they're trying to at least find a couple of people one eye. They go, no, bro, just look to the left, and it'll get better for you. I will not. I want to, because he pisses me off, but I won't say his name. During COVID, we set up my ring. We set up my ring in my father's security gym, and local guys were just coming to use it. And someone who was a semi-regular on AEW at the time showed up to train, and he decided that he was going to run court and talked about how he said that, well, there was no wrong way to do something, which is absolute horseshit. There is no one right way to do something. There's always a different way to do it. But there is most certainly a wrong way to do it. And we see that happen often. But that's the mentality that you see now, mostly because of AEW gobbling up people who had no business being gobbled up, or giving tryout matches to people who had no business having tryout matches. They get it. They get this rub, and then they go out there and they spew their bullshit. And it's a situation where things have become really hard to teach people who need to learn. And it's become really hard to get basic points across now, because these effing kids just don't listen. It is a generational problem, but I don't think we should be making concessions because your parents were not good parents. Sorry.
Right.
This is a sport that harkens back to the gladiator days. If you're softer than baby shit, go find something else to do.
Right. Yeah, it's a rough form of theater. And even Broadway, I'm sure it's real tough on the mental, because I'm sure, they better get their lines right. They better get their beats right and their marks right before the opening day, opening night.
I dated a theater girl once. Those people are effing. They're horrible people.
Oh,
if you know theater people who have gotten to a certain level, they are like ruthless.
Bro,
yeah, there you have it.
It doesn't have to be a certain level. I remember the drama club in high school, man. That's what the weirdos are. Okay,
but hold on. Back to Kevin's point. I think the reason why they hire these NIL kids, just like you said, they're coachable, and so coachable. Guys have been coached since 6 years old in their respective sports or activities. So, yeah, it's easy training because they've already heard some of the worst and foul language imaginable. So it's going to be easy for them.
And we called it last week, by the way. I don't know if anyone saw it, but Scott Steiner's son got signed to an NIL deal. So we will see a little Papa Pump here soon. Maybe a new generation of Steiners. But it is time to move on. I'm going to do some super chats. Remember, if you do a $50 super chat, we will call it out in the middle of our conversation. We will stop everything, give you a good old glom gold. But for now, if you have any other super chats, we will catch them up on them after each segment, which I am doing right now. John Williams with $9.99 saw someone defend by mentioning the size difference. Mentioned China versus Ivory. They're talking about the Megan Bain Thunder Rosa situation. I had a counter, Brock and Braun. Brock came in wrecking everyone else. Braun stares at Brock and walks away. I mean, people are sweeping. The AEW fans are sweeping hard about it. And by the way, they're all blaming Rosa. Every single one of them. it's a common thing, and I don't really get it because I don't think Rosa is one of those people that WWE fans like.
What are
really
they
defend
blaming
all the
Rosa
time.
for, though?
They're saying that Rosa was that she didn't know what she was doing when she got in the ring. They're saying that she was supposed to go up on her, that she's supposed to swing at her. They have all these they aren't wrestlers. They aren't people who understand the business. And I'm not claiming to be a wrestler, but I've been around wrestlers and I've had them tell me all this kind of stuff that that you're supposed to know. And I have Kev here. And that's why by the way, Kev, that's why I tagged you in that post, is because I'm like, you know what? I'm not a wrestler. Let's go to a wrestler and see what was supposed to happen. And yeah, but they all want to say that Rosa, she got lost. I saw someone say that she was drunk. Quite a few different excuses there. But yeah, there have been plenty of times when there's been a size difference. It doesn't matter because a face is supposed to, if a face charges in with a chair, the heels leave so the face doesn't look dumb. That's all it is. It's not even really something that you really do need to be a wrestler to understand. You just need to understand common sense, right?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This goes to even as simple as when you're first training, like they'll tell you when you go to throw a line, and I see this shit all the time. When you go to throw a clothesline, you're supposed to go straight through. It is the other person's job to duck. If they don't, you're supposed to take their head off. Instead, now what you see now is this. I don't hit you. Like, no, your job is to take their head off if they don't duck. Because when you do this, it looks fake.
Right.
And especially in the indies, again, I go WWE, what are you, like 20 feet away from the ring now? You know, at a stadium show on the indies, maybe you're 6 feet. People see that. People see that, and the second you ruin it, the second you shatter someone's ability, you take away what was it, the disbelief, right? It's ruined. You've killed the entire show for everybody.
Killed it dead.
Chris Connor from the Last Call podcast with $5, and an actual professional wrestling company, the road agent and producer would have gone over it with Thunder, Megan, and Penelope until it was muscle memory. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we don't know the situation. I know they didn't go over it. I can tell you they didn't go over it. But you know, it also, if you believe people saying Megan went into business for herself, which here's the thing, and if this was WWE, I'd say no way did someone go into business for themselves, because they'd be fired immediately. But this is AEW. So it's totally possible that she went into business for herself. Absolutely.
So we're going to find out pretty soon, like, who got in trouble over what, because it's going to play out on TV. If we don't see either one of these women on next week's television, either Dynamite or Collision, we'll know what happened. If we don't see Thunder Rosa, we know what happened.
This is actually a godsend for AEW in some sense, because now nobody is paying attention to the fact that they're doing a storyline that they just ended a month ago with Camille, right? Like, like they're doing the exact same storyline they did.
Oh man,
with another bit. It's like they ended that and they decided, okay, we're gonna do Shawn Diesel with someone else now. Forget that we did it a month ago. We're just gonna do it here now. So maybe, you know, the truth is, here's the truth about AEW though. Any one of these three women or all three women could completely disappear from TV and it would not affect the show at all. Right. It would mean nothing, and nobody would notice, and nobody would care for like 6 months until you hear someone go.
That's the thing. Obviously, you know, he's a terrible wrestling promoter, but in your view, how would Tony make money off of this? Like, how can you turn this around and make some cash out of this?
You can't. And you know,
damn.
Regina Sharp with $5. Rosa doesn't get fired. She gets to sit home until her contract is up. Maybe, I don't know. It seems like if Rosa had a lot of heat behind her and people thought she was definitely going to WWE, then maybe it all depends on which way the wind's blowing that day for Tony Khan. You know, so I think Rosa wouldn't appreciate sitting at home until her contract is up. She seems like somebody who wants to get out there and work. She has had her own businesses in the past. So I don't think that she would like it. But Rose has been sitting home for a long time anyway. So she can keep doing Busted Open, and she can keep. Did you see
She did it before. She'll do it again.
There were a lot of people. There were a lot of AEW fans online pointing out the thing where not only did Rosa congratulate Ricky, let's call him Ricky Saints now. Let's stop calling him by his slave name. He's Ricky Saints. So if they
What
can
a
say it, I can
shitty
say it.
name, by the way.
Well, no, he's from New Orleans. He's from New Orleans. But, you know, she congratulated him and Penta. And then I believe she hugged somebody. I don't remember who. And people were posting the picture of her hugging them and saying, like, are you going to let her? Can you please release her, Tony? Because look what she's doing. It's like, come on, guys. Shut up.
Like wrestlers aren't friends.
Right. You know, actually, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why Rosa won't get released. Is because I guarantee it's in her contract that she has to promote Dynamite and Collision on Busted Open every week. And that's the only way that they will get any positive rub from that show at this point. Except for Nick Nemeth. I'm sorry. We'll get to the Nemeth brothers in a little bit here. But let's move on to our next super chat. CWJ28 with the $2. What is your over under on when WBD cancels AEW? 5 years. I think they have with the NBA going away, they're going to at least give them. I think they'll give them through their contract.
Right, it's 4 years with a 5th year extension.
Right.
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on. Well, we're on the road to 500,000, right? So
yeah,
it depends. It depends on how low that goes. Once you get under 500,000, the demo starts getting too small for advertising companies to want to even take a look at it and decide if they're going to invest. So if they like right now, what's Collision? Collision's doing like 400 something, right?
3. I mean 4, yeah, but they're
4,
they're
sometimes
racing
3.
towards 3 right now. Yeah.
So yeah, when you're in the 4s, you're like 500 is the bare ass minimum that you can be at. Once you start getting below 5, now we're starting to get really small. Once you hit like 4 high 3s, there's no sense. There's no going, well, 18 to 35 is blah blah blah. There isn't enough of a sample size for anybody to give a crap about it. So let's see where they are when the NBA finals hit, because we all know, as we've seen the last batch of years, the NBA finals hit and they tend to lose 100 to 70,000 people, 100K to 70K people.
I think, and that doesn't even consider where WBD is going to be in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just as big of a chance that we don't have a WBD anymore before they cancel AEW. I know Awful is going to say tomorrow, probably. Awful. What's your
next
opinion
week
on this? Next week, yeah.
No.
Awful is firmly his feet are firmly on the AEW is going to get canceled hill. So
we have to think realistically, and I'm going to be real quick. Let's look ahead to September of 2026. That's a real date. That's that'd be their second year in with this new contract, correct? Or maybe third. If we're going on a downward pattern, as they have been, by September of 2026, I have not done the math, but gentlemen, we are well below 500,000 by that point.
Yeah.
Because I believe that's going to be happening by September of this year, 500,000.
Well,
so
did you hear
go ahead.
The latest scuttlebutt is that TNA might get on Netflix. And
that would be great for them.
If that happened, we'd have a direct compare. I would be interested to see what TNA can do on a big platform, because I think that with the product they have right now, they could beat AEW. I don't see a reason why not.
100%.
You know,
by the way,
they got to dance up their production. They got to dance up their production.
Their production's been good the past year.
Yeah.
They've been solid.
Okay.
Listen, and that's why they're partnering with WWE. It's an all-encompassing partnership. It's production and talent. I was gonna say, I wanted to, because we haven't talked about it. So Raw goes to Netflix, and they see a 400% growth in their audience, but the audience is down 60% overall from the first episode. And Meltzer and the clowns are screaming, "The sky is falling" for Raw.
Oh yeah. But
Yeah, there was
AEW,
quite a campaign on those statistics.
but AEW is
weekend.
fine dining, Marv. I'm sorry. AEW is fine dining, Kev. We'll get to that here in a little bit. My favorite composer, John Williams, with the $9.99. First, I thought Bully was getting way too sensitive at the fact that the promo was about BR not shaking hands, but that kid lost me. Instead, using actor tactic of exaggerate how you feel, but no, he meant it. Yeah, I mean, they were both playing it up for the camera too. To be fair, Bully knows when to turn it on. It was just that the kid started mouthing off at Bully, and Bully cut a promo on him. Basically, is
that's all Bully did?
Yeah, he just cut a promo on him. Yeah, I don't know how much it was played over the camera. Bully plays Bully all the time. Okay. Bully, if you ever meet Bully in person, he is a very nice man. He is, but he's Bully Ray. His name is Bully Ray. He could go by Bubba Ray Dudley, and he chooses to go by Bully Ray. That's his gimmick. He is a bully. So to expect him to do anything other than what he did is ridiculous. He prides himself on being that. But go back and listen to some Bubba Ray Dudley promos in ECW.
Seriously.
You want to cry? You want to get people to cry? Go back and listen to those promos. I've never heard heat like that. And it was heat. It wasn't cheap either, man. It was heat. That man was getting that was Scott Steiner heat. He was getting back.
We've got a mother in the front row, too busy teaching her daughter how to.
Yeah.
He's the only reason I listen to Busted Open. He's fantastic on Busted Open. So.
Busted Open After Dark with him and Taker has been phenomenal. I don't know if it's caught.
To be fair, I do like Tommy, but I like Tommy because Tommy's so soft. You know what I mean? Like Tommy's so gentle about everything.
Tommy is like yes, Tommy's like, I'm not here to offend anybody.
Yes.
I'll give you my most politically sanitized opinion ever. If someone starts popping off, I may not disagree, but I'm most certainly not going to agree.
Nick Nemeth, by the way, I can't stand him on there, but that's another story for another day. Moving on, we have Rabid Wolverine LC Killer 17 for $5. To be honest, AEW has so many red flags. If any wrestlers are to sign with that company, I'm very sorry. They are so dumb. Yeah. As I think as we said last week, a guy in Josh Alexander's position makes sense to me. He's going to make more money. He already has a hurt neck. He's cashing out. He's already accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish. If you're that age, if you're Cope, if you're Josh, if you're these guys, go ahead, take the money. But any young wrestler, unless you absolutely cannot get a job in WWE for a specific reason, you're better off.
Or you're in it for the wrong reasons, as we talked about earlier. If you're there for just grabbing the money and being home and only working, 12, 14 hours a week, AEW is the place for you.
Yep. You're better off working in MLW or TNA or NWA and hoping
if you don't want to be a wrestler, go to AEW.
Yeah. Because they're not
go do DDT in Japan.
Yeah,
really,
honestly. Or all Japan, yeah. Moving on, we have Chef Eddie for another $5. Chef, you've been so generous today. Thank you so much. Get in the ring with Gunther. He will teach them how to be real wrestlers. I think Chef Eddie likes Gunther. You know what's funny about Gunther, though? Gunther's one of those guys that everything looks like it kills them. But no one gets injured by him. No one gets hurt. Like Gunther is the way he works is so beautiful because, go ahead.
He knows the meaty parts of the body.
You can tell Gunther learned we hit people very hard in safe places mentality.
Right.
Yep. It's a British thing. I mean, well, it's a European thing because Dragunov is really good at that too. It's us Americans who end up hurting everybody.
Ace is gonna sting a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. Did
I ever tell you a story about Jerry Lynn? When Jerry Lynn came to my local wrestling company, and there was this one kid, I won't mention his name, but he got in the ring with him, and he was all excited about getting Jerry Lynn, and he's like, I want you to chop me. I want you to chop me for real. And Jerry Lynn's like, you want me to chop you? And he's like, yeah, I want you to just give it all to me. Give it all. And that kid, he was crying from right above his stomach to his neck. There was like, he looked like a ginger. Like his every blood vessel was popped in his chest when he got out of there from Jerry Lynn. That's why I will always love Jerry Lynn for no matter what he does. But yeah, Gunther much safer than that. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. So $5 from Regina Sharp. TNA is currently the WNBA to WWE's NBA, except TNA can drop.
I don't know. WNBA had a good year.
Yeah,
this year.
They had a good year.
They had a heel and a baby face.
That's all you need in wrestling. So that's
all you need anywhere.
Those are our super chats. Once again, if you give us more than $50, we will call it out on air. All the money goes to getting Marv better and back next week. But we want to thank you very much, and I will read super chats again at the end of the show.
Play Sarah McLachlan while you tell everybody to give you super chats for Marv.
I'm doing Marv right. Marv always gets on me. He's like, you don't give enough attention to the super chats and you don't ask for them enough. So I'm asking every time I get a chance for super chats. Also, hit the like button if you can, if you're here. We almost got 200 people in chat, so let's get those likes up. Next up, we're going to go ahead and skip over Elimination Chamber. Hey, guys, Elimination Chamber is happening Saturday. We're doing a whole show during Elimination Chamber. You can watch that. But WWE read the card about 15 times yesterday on Raw. You have men's, women's, you have the TS sisters. Yeah,
the what?
Asking, the TS sisters. They're TS, right?
Oh,
Trish and Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, Trish and Trish.
That couldn't possibly mean anything else.
Trish and
so
Tiffany.
I don't know why you. Oh, I need to get that super chat off the screen. That couldn't. Yeah, TS means nothing else besides Trish Stratus. And
you
Tiffany
sure?
Stratton. 100%.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you have that going on. You have a lot of stuff going on Elimination Chamber. But we will be there on this Saturday. We will be joining you live during the show. But there is something way more important to talk about right now. Tony Khan is being sued, guys.
Bam, bam,
Did you hear that?
One more time.
He's being sued. And you know who his co-defendant is? CM Punk. So Ryan Nemeth, who is Nick Nemeth's brother, I like to call him Little Dolph, because he has never accomplished anything in wrestling that hasn't had to do with Dolph Ziggler. He is currently with TNA tagging with his brother, but he was once with AEW. He did some AEW Dark shows and Rampage for a while, and they were going to move him to Collision when Punk took over, but Punk does not like Ryan Nemeth for whatever reason. I'm not going to speculate. And apparently they had a confrontation backstage. It was reported on quite a bit, only from stuff that Ryan Nemeth said himself. And apparently he was not allowed on the show, and he experienced mental trauma, and he was abused by CM Punk. So he has decided to sue Tony Khan for creating an unsafe workplace. He is suing CM Punk for the attack, and he is suing AEW as a company. Now, I know we're a little. We'll use that as a transition to the next segment, but that is where we are with this lawsuit. The interesting thing about this lawsuit, Awful, is what?
Well, first off, it was filed in Los Angeles Superior Court, and it was filed on Valentine's Day of this year. Yes. There's no case number assigned to the lawsuit. It's not yet listed online. And this all comes from Ryan Nemeth, who doesn't seem to have a lawyer. It seems that Ryan Nemeth might have written this up on a napkin somewhere. I'm not really sure. But He's saying that he was bullied by CM Punk at one point. Essentially, CM Punk told him that, you want to do we have a problem? Do we need to step outside and handle this like men? And Nemeth apparently was cornered by Brooks and did everything he could in order to de-escalate the situation.
No.
And
I remember when this happened, okay? Because what happened was that after Brawl Out, you remember Brawl Out? After that happened, Ryan Nemeth went online and started running his mouth about CM Punk.
Yes, he had an infamous tweet.
Yes, he sided completely with the Elite and was talking about how unprofessional CM Punk is, and I'm being nice here. And CM Punk, when he got to take over Collision, said, "Okay, well, I don't want you on my show then." That's it. He said, "You're going to talk about me like that? You're not welcome here." And he had him sent home because CM Punk ran Collision. Let's not forget that. Tony Khan put CM Punk in charge of Collision. And we find out in this lawsuit that Tony Khan is just a CM Punk mark. He worships that man.
Yes.
According to Dolph's brother. And CM Punk said go home, and apparently he claims there was some kind of altercation. This isn't going to make it to court. I really doubt it. AEW doesn't appear to think that it's actually going to be going. Oh,
it's made it to the court of public opinion. That's right, damn sure.
And that's what I'm getting at here. Yeah, it's not going to make it. It's not going to get in front of a judge. We're not going to see Tony Khan and CM Punk standing next to each other with their lawyers in between them. Because first off, if it did get that far, Tony Khan would immediately settle because he would be in fear of his life if he was in a room with CM Punk again. But the interesting thing that came out of this is everything that Nemeth said in his complaint. He has gone and released a lot of info, including things like he was offered 3 years salary to sign an NDA. Am I correct on that offer?
Yes.
Oh, 3 years salary to sign an NDA, and he refused. Also things claiming that Tony Khan was obsessed with CM Punk. Claiming and taught many things about the backstage environment, which Awful has gone over in great detail. He's like in Spaceballs, they were combing the desert. Remember that? That's what Awful's been doing.
Yes.
With
nice
these
singer comb.
So what interesting, if you don't, and not to spoil your book too much, but what other interesting things have you discovered from going over this, Awful?
What's most interesting is that Nemeth seems to want to burn the entire house down. Like, I don't think he's very interested in his wrestling career anymore. Not that he really had one, but this is his chance. This is an opportunity for him to really let everyone know like what goes on behind the scenes. It's a very slick play, and it just, with you saying that it's never going to go to court, it's going to get thrown out, it's going to get dismissed, is all the more reason for him to write it in such a way where it's just like Tony Khan has an infatuation with Phil Brooks, and it's just like it's over the top in its verbiage. And it's just like working. Yeah, he's completely working. It's not going to work, but yeah, this is like I said before the show, I was just like, this book is going to write itself. All I got to do is just go through case law, and we'll just, and all these, all these stories are going to fly out of the window. But yeah, I learned a couple things about Ryan Nemeth. Like, this guy never played sports. Like, there's no history of him playing any. Like, his brother did wrestling for Kent State, and it was pretty damn good. But this guy's really a nobody. Like, truly and really a nobody.
Was he even interested in wrestling before Dolph got into it?
I don't think so.
I never heard it. He was signed to a developmental deal for a cup of coffee, I believe. But yeah, he's just another one of those guys who never really had it. He's the modern day Lanny Poffo. Not as good as Lanny Poffo, but he seems to, get employed because it was who his brother is. He's never going to be a name. He made it to NXT. Good for him. I mean, no, he didn't. Actually, that's not true. And the NXT people went to fight him on TNA. My bad. But yeah, I think this is he realizes this is his limit, right? This is his ceiling, and he needs to do whatever he can. He might be able to cash out, maybe he could get
He's
a
trying to
settlement
burn
out
the
of
house
Tony.
down. Yeah,
Well, he
he's
could
trying
get
to
a
burn the
settlement
house
out of him.
down.
Yeah. And I have seen people speculating after reading over it that Punk put him up to it, which I don't think is true, but it reads like it is, right? Like if you read that complaint, it does sound like they're making Punk seem like the big bad tough guy who Tony worshipped while Tony was a scared little clown, not knowing what to do about anything.
I mean,
but you know what? I thought.
Go ahead, Kev.
I mean, sometimes the truth is what the truth is. Tony's a scared little clown. So
yeah. Now,
but,
what's interesting? A thought just came to my mind, my feeble little mind. If Tony and Punk actually go through with this thing, we have to understand that Ryan Nemeth has got to prove each and every one of these charges he's leveling against them. That would be mighty, mighty interesting. Now, do you think either Punk or Tony would want to settle, knowing that this guy doesn't have all those kind of goods, and his case would probably fall apart?
I think both of them would for different reasons. I think Tony would settle with the idea, if this actually goes to court, which I don't think it would, but if somehow it gets there, Tony would settle with him saying that he doesn't want to make it a bigger deal than it already is, and he doesn't want this stuff to come out. Punk would settle to help it, right? Like, I think Punk would settle just to make this stuff a bigger issue than it already is. Like, Punk can settle and let this continue against Tony in AEW, which totally sounds like a Punk thing to do. But I don't think settling's an issue. Go ahead, Kev.
What's interesting is it's probably, I think he lives in California, right? So that's why they filed it there. But California, where it'll get really interesting is if it does go to trial, if it gets to discovery,
right,
and they have to start producing emails and texts, that's where you're going to get that's where Tony should be settling. Because once you start going through text and emails, I saw that comment. Then once you start digging into personal correspondence, that gets real murky, and they can't hide from that. That'll do more damage than anything else. I'm sure Punk is smart enough to not have too much said about him, other than maybe he's add little bitch was talking about me, blah blah blah. That is what it is. But Tony is too much of a man child to probably not have buried the guy, in his phones or an email somewhere. And I'm sure you're going to see a lot of really spiteful shit. And once that happens, it then opens up the door for other people. It opens up the door for people. There could be people on roster like, why am I sitting here at catering 3 years later? Or like Ray Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Hey, I want to see all your correspondence.
Did he sign an NDA?
Yeah, and even then, the NDAs, the NDA law, it's not as airtight as it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Punk didn't sign an NDA. I can tell you
that because it's a private company, it makes it that much easier for Tony to do such things. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was a publicly traded company, but it's not.
If it was a publicly traded company, it'd be a real company, and we get things like profit reports and that kind of thing, which we will never ever see. So I'm going to go into super chats here. We're not quite done with this segment, but I want to do this first because we are segueing. John Williams for 999. TK being a mark for Punk was confirmed at Scrum, where he was on the verge of tears listening to Punk's feats. Was reported to be chanting Punk's name during his debut. Yeah. Tony is a clown, dude. Tony is a joke.
It's crazy he got this far in the wrestling business. I'm sitting here appalled at that.
If Tony was born under any other circumstances, he'd probably be doing what we're doing right now. To be fair, he would just be some dude online that talks about wrestling. You know, he wouldn't even actually. I'm sorry. I just realized that by saying that, I probably insulted Kev. He would not even be at Kev's level. Okay, is what I'm saying. He would be at my level. The dude who posts up on Twitter and gets to talk on a podcast. That's where Tony would be. But he has a lot of money. So he's not special. He likes to pretend he is. He feels like he is, and he's always been told that he is. But he's not. He's just another guy, and he's a fan. And if he was not in wrestling, I guarantee he would be loving this current CM Punk run in WWE. 100%. Moving on, we got Better Than Ezra Gober for $2. People's Court theme music plays. Yes. Wait, no, that's Law and Order. What's People's Court? Oh, what is it? Which one do you guys know?
Yeah.
I like that, bro.
That is an listen. Geek moment. That's on my playlist.
I kind of love that stuff, like television court shows. I like who's that broad they have on People's Court now? I kind of like her. I don't know, man. I'm
talking about the theme music. I'm not talking about the actual show. Not with Judge Million. You and my wife. Holy cow!
I could watch Judge Mathis all day.
Oh yeah. I met Judge Mathis quite a few times. He's a great man.
Who's the other one? Who's the other one? Judge
Joe
Jones.
Brown,
Joe Brown. That's it. Judge Joe Brown. Joe Brown is the tough Judge Mathis. When I was in hospitals a lot, that was kind of I lived off of court shows on TV. So, but we're kind of moving on because we have this wonderful post from our good friend Dave. Nemeth claims that Punk undertook a campaign to terrorize and intimidate him, including physical. So this isn't it. What is this? Oh, this was going to be.
Oh my God.
Wait, where is it? I had something fun from Uncle Dave about this, and it's not here. Oh well. Well, let's move on to the Meltzer said what segment because okay. Oh no. You know what it was?
Hold on. I don't think you added it to the stage.
Yeah, I did, and then I logged off, and I did. It's not that big of a deal. Let's go to this here. I'm sorry, Marv, if you're listening, but we will. You know what sucks about this? Marv doesn't have any of this stuff organized in a way that makes it to where you can get to the stuff you need to get to.
So you're gonna blame him? Okay,
yeah.
I hear you.
The Dave thing is so far down the list here. Where is that? You got it, Kev. You got the Dave.
I'll pull it for you. I have an idea of where it is. Hold on.
It's so lost in here, man. What does he do?
See that, chat? They don't put nothing in my hands.
Oh, there it is. I got it. All right, I won't
blame him.
I won't be pulling up the tweet, but the comment was Dave reported on this and didn't report that Tony Khan was part of the lawsuit. Did anybody?
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
He reported
Moron.
that AEW and CM Punk were being sued, but he did not mention that Tony Khan
isn't that lying by obfuscation?
I mean, who cares? It's Dave Meltzer. You want to go to Los Angeles and sue Dave Meltzer for not mentioning it?
Perjury.
But the main thing that I wanted to talk about in our Dave Meltzer segment this week, okay, is I'm going to have to share my screen for this because it is a long one. Okay. Dave Meltzer is reporting through the Figure 4 newsletter on something that he decided to call, or I'm sorry, the promoter he talked to decided to call WWE trauma. Let's listen to this. One of the things when it comes to the difference with WWE talent that lost constantly in WWE and going to AEW and never wanting to lose. By the way, this writing is terrible. as Marv said before. That's why I apologize.
There's
Because
two periods in this entire paragraph.
this makes no sense. And that goes for indies as well, not just AEW. It's something one person very involved with a lot of the talent on the major indie scene noted to us. I think that person was Brian Alvarez, noted indie wrestler Brian Alvarez. One day, we'll have to have the discussion about WWE trauma. People leave that company and are so traumatized by the booking. They overcompensate on exit as a defense mechanism. Even people who are, I don't want to use the term jobbers because that gets used incorrectly too often. Those who were at a level in WWE where they would be expected to lose a lot, like mentions names of several wrestlers who blah, blah, blah. They leave WWE and immediately take on a no jobs policy. Even if you put them in a situation where losing would get them more over or just make total sense, since they're in a small town for a show that isn't being recorded against a local top guy, they won't lose because of their WWE trauma. They equate being asked to lose as getting buried. Which isn't the same thing at all. But that's the mentality they've developed when losing a lot in WWE does actually mean you're getting buried. Or you're a secondary women's champion. So I get why a major star doesn't see the advantages in losing and reacts so negatively to the mere suggestion of it. From experience, any loss is given up control and flashes back to experience in WWE. So anytime they lose, they flash back to their experience in the WWE, the trauma that they experienced by being asked to lose a match. So
they're at the Allentown Armory, right? And they got to think.
Anytime they're watching Sesame Street and the count counts, they start having Vietnam flashbacks.
It gets the two, and they start freaking out. I don't think there's a way to fix that, unfortunately. Or if there is, I certainly haven't found that trick yet. Because
so they don't want a job at the VFW? Is that what you're telling me?
So I couldn't even convince a few wrestlers named on the indies to take a loss when I tried. Kevin's dying while I'm reading this. I'm going to make him listen to it. Look at name withheld. That guy hated doing jobs in AEW unless it was versus other guys he perceived as top guys. Ex-WWE guys. Now, he walked right back into WWE and has literally been losing since day 2 of his return. Okay, that's Andrade, right? That's Andrade. I'm assuming. Well, listen. The guy hated, but this is all insane. This is all gibberish. It makes no sense. The guy hated doing jobs in WWE unless it was versus other guys he perceived as top guys. Now he walked right back into WWE and has literally been losing since day 2 of his return. So I guess it could be Lexis King. It could be Ethan Page. It's not Cody. It's not Punk. That's what I mean, is that it's not those guys. So it has to be. It can't be Lexis King or Page because he's saying that they were previously in WWE. So it has to be the
Andrade.
Only person that makes sense is Andrade. Yeah.
All right.
But no complaints, no pushback. It's just an interesting deal how people look at WWE jobs being the cost of doing business, but elsewhere it's a slap in the face. Kev, I'm not even going to. You go.
This is asinine, but. I mean, I guess, well, let's be honest. If I'm Andrade and I'm getting told I need to put over Orange Cassidy or any of those stupid best friends, I'm going to be really annoyed. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real.
Ay, chingado.
But,
that's what I'm saying.
This is just bullshit. Listen, if I'm in the WWE and I'm someone who is on the I lose often end of the stick, I still have a really big bank account. Yes. I've got a lot of residuals coming my way. I'm smiling to the bank because I'm getting paid. Getting paid, and I'm famous.
Nothing against indie workers because they kind of wove in and out between AEW and indies because they're the same freaking thing. Okay,
okay.
They're the same exact thing, but. They tried, they wove in and out. If you're a WWE guy going on the indies, you're not going to job because
you got pulled in. Yeah, you got pulled in to boost ticket sales. You're going over.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Half of the house is because of you.
Dude.
It's not even because, honestly, they shouldn't pay them. They should pay the WWE, because half of the house is because it can say former WWE superstar on the flyer. That's
honestly,
the only reason.
Spike Dudley was the only name who would come in. Well, I take that. Tommy would do that every once in a blue moon, but Spike Dudley was the only name who would come in, who's like, and I mean like relatively recently released name, who would come in and would be like, well, you're from here, right? So, I mean, I already made my money. Why don't I just put you over tonight? The only guy.
Yeah.
The only guy. I love Spike to death. But everybody else, unless they know you and you've worked them 1 billion times, they're going over.
Yeah.
They're going over.
And guess what? The people who paid to come to that show don't want to see Joey Rushmore from Minneapolis beat Dijak. Okay, that's not why they came to that show.
You know, case point two, Adam
Who's
Rose.
going to see Dijak?
You say that, but you know who's going to see Dijak?
I'm joking.
The 7-year-old kid who sees former WWE superstar Dijak. That's all he cares about. It's not about Dijak. It's about the fact that they were in the WWE, so they seem like a big deal. Anyway, go ahead, Kevin.
It was like Adam Rose, you know, his short time before he went back home. He did a bunch of indie spots. You know, he did a lot of local stuff here, and because he was with a guy that he really liked, really trusted, I think one of the last go throughs, he he put him over, but it's only because like they wrestled 4,000 times and he was super comfortable with him. People are paying to see Adam Rose. They don't want to see Adam Rose lose. It's a freaking bummer. You're supposed to be sending people home happy. So this is just stupid.
And you don't put them in. The really stupid promoters are the ones who put them in against their champions. And then you have guys like Dijak running around the indies with 9 titles because the indie promoter.
yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, it's like you do the DQ Dusty finish for a reason.
Right. Because these guys aren't going, and they shouldn't lose. They shouldn't lose on indies specifically because they want to be.
Now, if you're a heel working the indie scene and you came fresh off the WWE boat, I mean, shouldn't you do the slip on the banana peel finish for some of these locals? No. I love
Have you seen some of these locals? Absolutely
no. Here's what you do. Here was the finish. Here's what the heel finish was. Every time I've seen it on an indie show,
everybody looks like Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, when a big heel comes in, here's what you do: you have him cheat to win every time, and then you just have the face get his heat back on the next show, or maybe even afterwards if the heel's very nice. But you just have the heel cheat to win. That's how you have the heel go over. If it's a face, you have him take out the heel. You don't have them lose. You're paying. Do you realize how much these promoters are paying these guys? There's a reason that they're paying them half of what they got from the show they did the 3 weeks before. Okay, there's a reason.
At half the time, it's not even worth it anyway.
Right.
So the
yeah, so we've gotten over the fact that it's just ridiculous on the surface, right? Can we talk about the term WWE trauma? Can we talk about that snowflake, that soft, like WWE?
There has been quite a push to like move words forward into the wrestling lexicon, like bad faith or grifting, and now it's trauma, and now it's tied to WWE trauma. Nobody wants to lose on the indies.
We had to lose. Right? I had to lose so much in WWE. I couldn't possibly lose anywhere else, or else I will be so sad. Like, and then
Mildred, call 911. That's WWE trauma.
I love that they completely negate everything they said when they go, but then they go back to WWE and they lose again. It's like they got over their trauma suddenly. That's the cure.
Because they're famous again.
Yeah.
Because people care about them. More people. People always talk about like Andrade's not being booked correctly, blah, 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 blah. Andrade is a 10 times bigger star now than he was ever in AEW.
WWE Trauma is going to be a new show.
You know,
on Max.
Akira Tozawa is a bigger star than I'd say 75% of the AEW roster. And the 25% that aren't were WWE guys previously.
Wait, what was the name of the guy who tagged with Kevin Owens over the summer?
Ricky.
Instead of Ricky.
Ricky.
What was it? What was it?
Ricky. It was just Ricky. They didn't mention his last name.
Ricky was a bigger star for 4 weeks than 90% of the AEW roster.
When I told Max that Ricky Starks was in WWE, he said, "You mean the guy that tagged with Kevin Owens last year?" I swear to God that happened. He remembers that and has no idea who Ricky Starks is. So, yeah, it's embarrassing that they're calling this. They're trying to do whatever they can to make what's weird is that AEW has kind of dropped that whole social justice thing, right? Like they really were pushing that hard in the first few years, but they've dropped it. Dave hasn't. Dave is still going for it. Do you think that he actually talked to someone on the indies then, or do you think it was
no? He made
like Kev, do you think that does anybody on the indies actually think that besides like somebody who would have run PWG back in the day?
It would have been someone super duper bitter. You had to be super duper bitter. You probably really sucked, and you probably got there by accident. That's just the meat and potatoes of it. Other than that, like you're just counting your money. You're just counting your money. Count your money and go home. Yes, there are cases where like the ruthless aggression mid-carders. Remember when they all got released around the same time?
Yeah.
There was just before NXT was announced as a thing, WWE started trying to rehire a bunch of them back. So like Charlie Haas, Shelton, Carlito, like they kept trying to get all those guys back. And at first they were like, nah, man, I'm making bank here in the indies. I don't need to go through that BS again. And they kept turning them down. So maybe like if you get someone who's, someone who goes, well, I was there, I was young and you didn't do anything with me. You're not going to do anything with me now. Maybe then. But at the end of the day, it's like, you get paid. Someone has to lose. And in the WWE, wins and losses don't really matter until they need to matter.
Right. And if you are an indie booker and you're bringing WWE guys in and you want them to lose, you're not booking them into a situation where they can draw while not affecting your current product in any other way. Well, and you need them to lose, then you're not a very good indie promoter, in my opinion.
It's like, and they have no bearing on your shows. They're not there next week. They're there for this one night only. So like, again, we're like a guy like a Dreamer. Tommy does a lot of shows. Tommy does a lot of repeats. You could feasibly run an angle with someone like Dreamer, if he's local, depending on what time of year it is. But you're not. Are you really going to run a program with freaking Dijak?
Yeah. Like I know, what, here's a good story. I know that Sandman used to come in for weekend shots at some local companies in St. Louis, and he would do Friday and Saturday. And what he'd typically do is he would lose on Friday, do an angle, set up for Saturday. That was always the thing that he would do. They would take a guy, they would take a heel. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. On Friday, they would take a babyface, a lower card babyface, have him go against Sandman. Sandman would get attacked by a heel. They would have the babyface go over that way. And then the next night, it would be Sandman versus the heel, and Sandman would go over. And I'm guessing that Sandman got paid a lot more money to do that typically. But that was always, whenever Sandman was coming in, we knew that was going to be what they were doing with him. So there's probably some of that going on, and I'm sure that if these indie promoters were willing to fork out the money to get these guys for 2 nights, they might get something like that out of them. But if a guy's coming in for one shot and he's going to be gone the next week, and all he has is all I'm going to keep using Dijak. All Dijak has right now is the covers that he gets on the internet, right? That's all he has. He has nothing else. So if he's out there losing every week at indie shows, he's not going to get signed with AEW, you know, I mean, or go back to WWE or go to TNA or wherever he wants to go.
Isn't this the time for someone like Dijak or anybody who's been thrown off the Fed train in the last few weeks? Isn't this a good time for them to maybe like redevelop their character instead of doubling down on the bad character that they had in the company?
Real quick, I'm gonna address this because I don't think we've ever talked about it before. Jam Flow Man, Dijak, it's been reported that he's a snitch. So we'll just say that. There's probably a reason, if you believe the reports, that you don't see Dijak around anymore. But yeah, what were you saying? Awful, go again. I'm sorry.
I said when these guys get thrown off the WWE wagon, doesn't it do them well to maybe like redevelop a character or to try to do something differently than rather than doubling down on the bad character that they were already saddled with when they were in the company? Like a Dijak, like he's a great example actually. Like it doesn't look like he's changed a thing since he got canned.
Well, what are you going to do though? It's a give and take. Dijak is not going to be booked anywhere if his name isn't Dijak. If his gimmick isn't Dijak. Right. A lot of these, if you have real talent, if you're Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, you can go on the indies and reinvent yourself and be something different. Yeah, but if you're Dijak, or if you're, no offense to him, or if you're
Baron Corbin,
Baron Corbin's probably going to play Happy Corbin again. Like you're going to see that kind of stuff because that's how they're going to make money. Right. What are you going to, it depends if they want to move on, right? Then maybe, but if they want hope of going back to WWE, they need to develop a new character. They need to do what Matt Cardona did. They need to do what Drew McIntyre did, what Cody Rhodes did, and redevelop themselves.
Right.
But some of these guys,
I think it's the point that a lot of these talents are missing nowadays.
Well, then you
got
also
to reinvent yourself.
You also have guys like Elijah or Elias, who's really the character wasn't the problem there. Right. It was just that he was with like Elias. I think the main issue with him in WWE was timing. I think he was in a situation where he was not involved in anything when it came time to cut the budget and he had to go. Same thing with someone like Sonya. It's not a knock on Sonya. And they probably tell these guys on their way out, look, if you want a job, if you want to get back here, go reinvent yourself. Go, do that and we can bring it back later. Or they might say, look, keep your nose clean, go learn a new hold. You can keep doing what you're doing. We'll bring you back when we have the budget for it. Like those are probably the two situations that you hear more than anything. Whereas the people who aren't told either of those things are never going to be hired in WWE again. And they should know that. I was explaining to Max earlier in the week too, that budget cuts don't happen always because someone is a failure. Sometimes they just happen because it's time to cut budget and they have to cut someone. Right. And that's, so it just depends on what the situation is.
It's crazy too. The metrics that they have, they can pull up someone's name and they can essentially estimate how much money they can expect to make off of you over a certain amount of time. And if it's just not working, you're gonna go.
Yeah, go ahead. Go. Like I guarantee. That's why I said I guarantee they told Sonya, you know what? Go to Japan, work in TNA a little bit. If you get hot, we'll bring you back. That kind of thing. It's
podcasts are going to be booming later this year. I tell you what.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, I don't think we need to dedicate any more time to Dave Meltzer or his shenanigans. He said some other stupid stuff this week, but I mean, what are you going to do? He says that every week. He said, yeah. And a lot of times it's just him misspeaking. So we do have one more segment. So let me go ahead and close this out. All right, and we did get a couple super chats while we were talking. CWJ 128 for $2. Sadly, not one wrestling promoter would hire Tony Khan. I'm sure one would. I'm sure there's one out there. Burt Lauderdale or something would probably hire, but that's about it. And Better Than Ezra Gober replies with $2 and says TK will get a job at Fightful. Probably more likely, or with Mr. Meltzer. Oh, we have another one that just came in from Tyler Galowski for $4.99. Mercedes Moné, the poster wrestler for their WWE Trauma. It's so bad she won't do jobs with no belt or 4 belts.
Excuse my host. It's Golasinki.
Golasinki? I've never heard Marv pronounce it. I don't pay attention to what Marv says. So, yeah, that's true. Mercedes, has she jobbed since she's been in AEW? Has she lost?
She has not put her thin rail back to the mat since she got there.
Okay. So,
That's
true enough.
Damn shame.
I don't know who she'd lose to, though. They haven't really put her against anybody that should be beating someone of her level, right? Like, Harley shouldn't have beat her. I'm sorry. I know everyone's saying Harley should have won. Harley has won one match in the history of AEW.
She's green as grass.
Yeah,
she's not that great in the ring.
Mercedes should have gotten DQ'd, and Harley should have, Harley should have done something where Mercedes powdered, and then she could have stood triumphant. She should not have been beating her. She's won one match in how many years?
So we're gonna get to a song here. I'm gonna play something, but first I do want to talk about another song real quick. Did you guys see the Enzo rap? I got
outside Giant Stadium.
I got a little bit of new respect for Enzo, unless it's a work. And I always tell people when the wrestlers start crapping on AEW, give it a few weeks because it could end up just being a work. So don't make them your hero yet. But the fact that Enzo went on the Jericho cruise and got a whole bunch of buzz, and people were saying, hey, AEW should sign Enzo. Do you think AEW is going to sign Enzo? And then Enzo goes out a week later and puts out a diss track on Tony Khan and AEW. That is the ballsiest, funny. Like, I kind of want WWE to hire him just because of that. It's pretty great.
Are you talking about that 4-minute promo at MetLife Stadium?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty good. I'll tell you, it was. Listen, 4 minutes, one take. I was impressed by that. That Coke is hitting something different, isn't it? Sheesh. Man.
But he's not the only one who has been doing stuff like that recently. But that's another topic for another day. Right now, we are going to do something that I have been bugging Marv to do for literally months. I am adding this to the stage right now. What this is, let me take that off there. Marv makes that mistake too sometimes. This is the Hot Rod Roddy Piper hit single that he made in Europe. It was produced by one Simon Cowell. You may know him from American Idol. And it was the crux behind the Hulk Hogan Roddy Piper feud. So, Awful, have you heard this before?
I have not heard it before. I'm anxious to see what this nonsense is. Maybe there's some comedy to be mined out of it.
1992, they claim it was a hit. And this was rushed on stage during a Monday Nitro by a quote-unquote fan who said that it was the crux of the Hogan or of Piper's reason for coming to WCW. So let's let's check this out. There's Piper. I'm gonna turn down a little bit. There. Okay. Wait. Back up. We missed it. We got it all. That's it. Oh, we missed it again.
My gosh.
I can't get okay. I can't.
You were supposed to do this 6 hours ago, Dis.
No. You have to realize that one tiny scene where you saw it say the ultimate battle, Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper. The one that happened so fast that I couldn't pause on it in time. That was the crux of Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper in WCW. Awful. That was it. Okay. Let's start it
Go-
over.
go-
Maybe I.
Yeah, please. Let's see if
fine.
you can hit the lotto this time.
Oh, no.
There, I got it. Okay.
He got it. How about he hit the post? All right.
There it is. The ultimate bout. Roddy Piper versus Hulk Hogan tonight at the Hollywood Bowl. That's it. That was the entire reason for that feud. But let's continue. Let's give the song a chance, though. Okay. I want you to really listen and tell me what you think. Awful specifically. You never heard it before. So let's go through this.
I've been watching you all night. Cause everything about you, it's alright.
Look at Jumping Jacks. I love the Zubas. I love the Zubas and the Jumping Jacks.
Piper
What's
has never
with it?
taken rope a day in his life.
What's with the 8th grade bowl haircut and that sultry look that Roddy Piper's trying to give to me?
It's like he's trying to be Michael Bolton or something. Let's continue.
With the rusty denim curtain behind him.
Look
Oh
who
my
it is.
God.
Cameo.
The things you say, the things you do, oh baby, I've been.
The cane.
What? What's happening here?
I love the trainer with the cane because it looks like he's like there's no ladies around. What suggestion is he making? What's that?
Looking for you all my life. And if you're looking for someone that'll treat you right and never cheat on you, will never tell you lies, honey, if that's your plan.
Is he singing this to the coach? To the trainer?
And if you want somebody gonna love you best until
I love the beefcake shot with the
Oh
heart.
my
if you want
God.
somebody gonna love you best.
There it is. That's the poster. That's the poster on every 13-year-old girl's wall
Oh, I bet.
in England in 1992.
Yeah.
Piper loves
All
you.
right, Roldy. The story is you're training for a match against the Hulkster. So you and your trainer are going to be working out, but your thoughts are secretly with your lover, and you're going to go to the beach and show her your bowl cut.
We haven't even gotten to the frolicking on the beach yet. Let's move on.
Do we even have a lass on set?
Until forever, baby, then forget the rest. 'Cause honey, only one man can.
That's the cameraman.
I'm your man.
Don't smile, Roddy Piper.
Come on. What's a dog? What's with the dog?
He rescued it from the water that Hogan threw it into.
Yeah.
I have that.
This world will beat you down, beat you with a stick. You stick, you stick.
For people that forgot.
Yeah.
So, okay. Wait. Kev,
Lost a bit of
you are-
melanin since that incident, but
Well,
It was around that time.
That's why the dog's getting thrown out.
yeah.
Suburban Commando did come out around the time of this song. So you are piecing it together. Apparently, Roddy Piper saved the dog and decided to fight Hulk Hogan.
Show
and
more
they-
of this nonsense. I
Oh,
can't
I'm
get
getting
enough.
there. I'm getting there.
Show footage of later that night when they're in the hotel Holiday Inn doing like 4 or 5 lines in the bathroom.
With the hot babe from the
I
he
fly
does,
out Sunday morning.
awful. He does cut a promo during the
Oh, he
song.
does?
I
Oh,
yeah, I
boy.
just want to prepare you for that. Yeah.
Baby, I've been looking for you all my life. And if you're looking
You see how tough he was right there?
Yes, of course.
Let's look at that. Let's look at that again. Let's look at that. Look at this. Watch this turn, man.
Look at that look.
Watch this turn.
That's a Valentine's Day card.
Yeah. Tough Piper.
Someone that'll treat you right and never cheat on you and never tell you lies. Honey, if that's your plan,
Then don't date a wrestler.
and if you want somebody gonna love you best until forever, baby, then forget the rest. 'Cause honey,
By the way, have you ever been on a date with a girl on a beach, running around with a dog, and just gave her a high five? Has that ever happened?
Well, of course,
Too many times, too many times.
after placing seaweed on her shoulder, immediately give her a high five. That's what you eggs like to do, isn't it? Play frisbee with your dogs and high five your girls.
I just want to point out, anybody who ever watched American Idol realized Simon Cowell was behind this. All those times that he was telling people how terrible they were. He thought this was good enough to release.
Yes, he decided to release a song the Beach Boys wouldn't even do.
only one man can. I'm your man.
Okay, we're getting ready for the high note.
There's
and then-
not one minor chord in this entire song.
Get
It's
ready-
campy, syrupy, sweet, saccharine-y, major chord nonsense.
Get ready for the high note, okay? And then the promo, because it's coming, man. We're gonna get a Piper promo in the middle of it. There's the high note.
Oh my God.
You know? I ain't no new kid on the block either. I'm the whole damn block.
He's the whole damn block.
You know what? I like For Everybody better.
He's the whole damn block. He's not a new kid on the block. I love him. First off, he's dancing around a punching bag. Second, they've now shown, they keep showing the Hollywood Bowl sign over and over again, but they just flash it really quick. But see, I guess I should explain. So the idea
Please.
was, this song was made in 1992. I don't know why they showed it in WCW, but the idea is that Eric Bischoff was saying that Roddy Piper has been thinking about Hulk Hogan since 1992 when he put this out, right? Hasn't Piper been thinking about Hulk Hogan since 1983?
Yep.
Technically. So when you have all that, do you think it was a matter of just they couldn't use that, so they had to find something they could use to show they had history? Or do you think it was Piper said, I want you to play my song? Like, which one do you think it was?
I'm gonna be at Highlander in 2 weeks. You're playing my song.
Let's keep going with the promo. I'm gonna go back just a smidge here so we can get the promo.
I'm the whole damn block. I'm Roddy Piper. Yeah. Now, I can be anything you want, baby. Why I could even be your milkman.
But I ain't jobbing to you.
He could be your milkman. Awful.
No one's had a milkman in 30 years, but I could be him.
This milkman don't job.
Be your milkman. Now, this ain't no half pint now you're dealing with.
Oh,
Sweetheart.
please.
I'm a full load.
He's a full load.
All right. Where they serve loads of milk.
Where do they sell loads of Piper?
Damn it. How do you look back at this in post editing and just like, you know what? This is great. This is awesome.
This is brilliant.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. That's all.
Oh my God.
Why do you think they call me Hot Rod, huh?
Don't want to
This
know.
should have, yeah, really. This should have been his theme song in WCW. He should have went down to the ring with this. Big matches, play it with bagpipes.
I'm your man. I'm the man for you.
Oh my
Your
God.
man, the man for you.
So apparently the old man was there because Freddie Blassie was unavailable, according to Regina.
Oh yeah.
I'm not doing this shit.
You know that's who they wanted it to be, right? Like just from the cane, everything about it was reading Freddie Blassie. We're almost through here.
I don't even want Madonna, honey.
Hold on, cut there, Roddy. Roddy, it needs more sultry.
He doesn't want Madonna, but they also faded out on the best part of the song, which was his promo.
Oh God.
That's it.
I'm the
And there
whole
you
thing.
go. You have it. That is the Roddy Piper hit song, "I'm Your Man." Awful. How do you compare it to other wrestlers who have been involved in the music? You have Hulk Hogan.
It's so crazy. I was going through my catalog of like wrestling songs that have been done by professional wrestlers, and yeah, that is nowhere near as good as anything else I've heard. Like I said, he did For Everybody for that was a great song. What was the other one? Somebody had mentioned in the chat, Land of a Thousand Giants or Land of a Thousand
Dances.
whatever the hell. Yeah, Dances. I didn't like that song at all. Yeah, Roddy, that was may he rest in peace. That was booty. I don't know how that even made it to air or how, like
that was always
it's the first three chords you ever learn ever with any instrument. And it's just like
it was always a joke between me and my friends because I had NWO tapes where I taped literally everything involving the NWO. I had 9 volumes of nothing but NWO. So I've watched that about 100 times. And I don't understand why. I just don't understand why. Why would you bring it was 8 years or 7 years after that came out. So why just bring it up all of a sudden on a random Nitro? Have somebody it's not good. It doesn't tell a story. It doesn't add anything to it.
Mm-hmm. So along the lines of Roddy Piper, I didn't know, Kev, we had found out in the group chat that you had never seen a pilot episode of Jesse Ventura and Roddy Piper in a show called Tag Team.
I had no. This must be one of those weird times where, like, I must have been at a grandparent's house.
Had to be in bed at 9.
Yeah, it had to be because I just this is something I probably should have watched enough that I know every word. And the first time
what channel was it on? Do you remember this?
NBC.
I want to say it was NBC. Do you remember around that time, Jesse Ventura, whenever he talked about Piper, would say, "My tag team partner," and that's why. Like, if you go back to that Royal Rumble that year, he called him his tag team partner. And I remember when I was a wee lad, I actually saw it on TV on its first airing.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, I didn't know. Did you know about it awful beforehand, or was it a situation like me?
Listen,
where you were.
I set my watch to it. Okay. I remember my mom used to buy the TV guide, and that week I remember circling it. It was on like a Thursday or a Friday. I can't remember which night. But it was the one episode, and I was the only person probably, because I didn't know it got canceled. I was the only one like sitting at the TV that next week and just seeing like some other episode of something else. And I was just like, what happened?
Was there with you. Lil Dis was there with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
that's when I learned about cancellations.
I watched that show. I thought it was the coolest thing. They were cops, but they were former wrestlers, and they would tag each other. One of them would fight. One of them would fight, and then they'd go tag the other one, and the other one would come in. And
yeah. Beard said it was ABC. The channel was ABC, and I'm inclined to believe him. But I remember, like, I didn't see the pilot episode that you showed in the group chat but I'll never forget it like it was yesterday. They pulled off a double clothesline in the show, and I can still see it to this day. And it was just like, first off, it was Jesse Ventura like you've never seen him before. He wasn't like he didn't have the like the tiger print shirts, or did he? I'm not, I'm going back 30 years.
Did he?
Oh, he did? Okay. But I think it was the fact that he looked like normal. He didn't wear the glasses and all that. It was just like, oh, it's Jesse Ventura from Predator fame and Roddy Piper. This ought to be a great show. And I thought it was a great show. I can't remember how old I was. I think I was 50. But
For 50?
yeah,
5-0? That makes
yeah,
sense.
5-0. But I thought it was a great show, and just like you, I waited to see the next episode, which never came. I would love to see what the next episode would have looked like.
For years, for 7 years, I told all of my wrestling friends about this amazing show starring Roddy Piper and Justin Ventura, and no one believed me that it existed because they never mentioned it on WWE TV. They never, like Jesse got his little sneaks in where he'd say his tag team partner, but they didn't advertise it or anything. And I would tell everybody, and they'd be like, "No, no way." So this is the truth. The first thing I did when I got the internet was search Jesse Ventura, Roddy Piper tag team. And
that was the first thing you searched on the internet?
The first thing I searched on the internet.
It was the second thing you searched on the internet.
No, because when I got the internet, my parents were there. So, the second thing I searched was Sunny Boobs. That was once they were out of the room.
Something sexual was top 3. That's for damn sure.
We all had that fake Sunny picture, right? We all had that one in there. Yeah, in our library. Okay, just want to make sure. But yeah,
the beach photo.
I found yes, yep. It was the famous photo of her on the beach, but she wasn't wearing. But it was photoshopped very poorly.
Oh,
but yeah, I proved to all. I printed it out and I proved to all my friends, not all my friends, my wrestling friends, that it existed. So, but there you go. You have now seen the Roddy Piper "I'm Your Man" video. It was integral to the Hulk Hogan Roddy Piper feud in WCW.
Yes, is there any way? Is there like a trailer for that tag team show?
No, there
isn't.
They didn't advertise it at all. Like it's just the show.
Right.
We did. You know what? Maybe we'll do a watch along over on This Is Awful sometime. We could just watch the whole thing. There's a few things I want to watch. Mad Bull. Did anybody ever watch Mad Bull besides me? Was I the only one who grew up watching Mad Bull?
What the hell is that?
Mad Bull. It starred Coach from Cheers and the dad from Webster. And it had a few wrestlers in it.
It's a wrestling movie, right?
It was a wrestling movie. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I know what movie that is.
It was made for TV. It was a made for TV movie. The dad from Webster was a wrestler. It also had Ernie Hudson in it. And my dad had it on VHS, and I watched it weekly growing up. There's a lot of weird wrestling. It had some lower card AWA guys in there. AWA was very involved with Hollywood there for a while. They did that. They had Body Slam. Remember Body Slam, the movie?
I remember Body Slam.
Stuff like that. So, but we are now at the end of the show. We have one more super chat here from John Williams, and it's a good one to close on. Can't wait for the next live stream where Marv comes back to reveal it wasn't Dis who poisoned him. It was actually Kevin Apollo who did it for the Bears.
I did it for the Bears. I did it for my people.
All right, so thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Tooney Talk Wrestling. Next week, Marv will be back, I assure you. So you don't have to hear me yap on for 2 hours like I was today. Almost three. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm sure if you're in the chat, you're subscribed. If you're not in the chat, make sure you do subscribe to the show. Kevin Apollo, what do you have to promote?
I don't know. I think tomorrow we're doing the late night pro show at 10, and then I'll be back here on Thursday for Tooney, for Tooney TV, and then I will be back here. Oh, I'll see you guys during the Elimination Chamber, which I keep forgetting is this weekend.
Hold on. Because I barely get a chance to indulge in Tooney Talk TV. I see that Kevin Apollo's got a handle underneath says Real Black Captain America. What'd you think of the movie there, Kev? Did you see it?
I had to go see that garbage. That's I might watch it when it pops up on Disney Plus.
Talk about an incidental character. Sam Wilson is just there, and everybody's playing the movie around him. And holy shit. shucks. I mean, it's the first movie I've seen since Endgame from Marvel. And
Too much homework, like me. There's just too much homework. You can't keep track of it.
No. I take that back. I did watch the WandaVisions. I did. You know what? You know where I stopped? Eternals. That's where I just gave up. I didn't even watch that. So when I saw Captain America, you know, this latest one, I thought it was okay, but man, like, it should have been Bucky. Sorry.
Well, you can tune into more. By the way, I finished Cobra Kai. Oh my God, that shit. Me and Marv are going to do a spoiler cast on it at some point for members of Tooney Town TV, because I cannot talk about it without giving spoilers away. It is impossible to talk about that show without doing spoilers. So me and Marv are planning a spoiler cast when his voice comes back. So you can tune into that. But Awful, what do you have to promote?
Yeah, you can catch me on X each and every day, I guess, where I tweet some sort of, you know, humor that either flies or doesn't fly. And you can catch me every week here on Tooney Talk Wrestling. I'm sorry, I'm being distracted by people trying to grab my attention. But anyway, yes. Pleasure, gentlemen.
Yes, your handle is at AEW.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
FUL
AEW FUL Wrestling. Thank you, Dis, for reminding me. And thank you for the 13,000 people who have somehow endured this project. I appreciate it so much. I swear to God, I never thought I'd get past 2,000, but this is incredible. Thank you guys very much.
And I want to give a big shout out to AEW Neckbeards, our wise man, our producer.
Indeed.
I'm going to say it correctly. Our producer, because, Marv messes that up a lot. He is helping out in the chat. He helped a lot with this show. He helped with the Dave Meltzer segment, and he is a peach. He is a gem. He is a treasure. He has so many followers on Twitter. I believe he just passed 10,000. He helped me.
Congratulations on his 10,000.
He helped me almost get to 4, and he is an amazing human being, even if he is Canadian. We love him so much. So I want to give a big shout out to him. You can follow him on Twitter at AEW Neckbeard. It's beards when you say it, but it's beard on Twitter, singular. So go follow him there. And
the original and still the best.
Absolutely. 100%, except no imitation. AEW Neckbeards is the only one.
I did today. I'll tell you about it later.
All right. And for me, go ahead and join our Discord, tooney.dis.lol, and you will go to our Discord channel. We have fun there every Monday and Friday watching some wrestling and talking about wrestling throughout the week. Also, you can check out, if you go to youtube.com/DISISAEWFUL, that is our new YouTube channel for me and Awful. It is set up. It has all kinds of stuff on it. Actually, there's nothing on it, but it will have stuff on it soon. We've had Awful had some family stuff. We're doing stuff.
Let the chat know. We're busy guys. I mean, we don't live on Twitter.
Here's what I'm going to start. And also, my kid's been off school for 4 weeks, so it's been a little hard to do anything outside of this show. But for now on, I figured every Thursday, even if we don't do the show, I'm going to do some kind of stream. So whether it be a gaming stream or something like that, go to there Thursday, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central Time. There will be something going on there as long as I am able to do it. And that will probably be this week too. Eventually we will start This Is Awful, the podcast. But so youtube.com/@thisisawful, DIS.
Nice. Can't wait.
Yes, it'll be fun. It'll be a blast. Other than that, follow me at AEW Disciplinary on Twitter. Marv does stuff. You can follow him on Twitter at Movie Marvin. You can go to that Park Place. That Park Place. I got it. I nailed it. Go to check out that Park Place where Marv is the editor in chief. He does all the stories there, and he puts out stuff there all the time. He's also a regular contributor, as is Kevin, on WDW Pro. So you can check him out there for anything Disney park related, entertainment related, anything like that. You will find everything you need from there. Thank you, Marv, for allowing me to take over the show. I know that I am a Hulk Hogan pirate.
Won't do that dumb shit again, will you?
Nope. I think I did great. I did wonderful. And I don't care. Actually, there you go. Check that out. Heel Dis rules. That's right. That's right. I decided I'm going with heel dis or asshole dis as opposed to evil dis because I don't want brand confusion with dose. So that's how it works.
Shout out Evil Dose.
So from me, from Awful Wrestling, from Kevin Apollo, from AEW Neckbeards in the chat. Get here! I can't do it. I can't do it.
You sucked on that.
Now, Perry the Platypus, feel the wrath of my thank you-inator! Thank you, you piece of trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you! Oh, I suppose you want me to say thank you. But you know what? Saying thank you is like jobbing.
Thank you!
I got a little message. Thank you. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks? For what? Hi-ho from all of us here at Tooney Town. Thank you!
And viewers like you. Thank you.